Chapter 2898. It was already winter in the Scarlet Divine region. Snow swirled in the air, and it was extremely cold. Snow flew for 8,000 miles, and it was unbearably cold. Coupled with the dark Forbidden Era, this kind of life was frightening. Even the nobles lived on the tip of a blade, and no one knew who would be the next to be exterminated. It was a misfortune to have a child at this time, but as the palace lord, how could Reverend Lon give his own son to Lu Feng to be killed? Lu Feng killed without batting an eye, and he was definitely one of the demons. His actions were even more cruel than the ancient heavenly emperor. Reverend Lon looked at the baby in front of him and couldn't help but take a deep breath. That pair of eyes was very penetrating, and there were even fluctuations of intelligence. He suspected that this gaze was the reincarnation of a powerful being. I hope you're not him. You were born in the cold snow and faced the dark Forbidden Era. Why don't we call you Reverend Lon Shuahan? Reverend Lon sighed. Reverend Lon Shuahan was a very beautiful name, but it carried a sharp and cold-killing intent. This was probably something that Reverend Lon Shuahan didn't care about. Reverend Lon Shuahan only glanced at Reverend Lon Shuahan before closing his eyes and falling asleep. He didn't cry, nor did he make any unnecessary movements. He was as mature as an adult. Reverend Lon Shuahan looked at his sleeping wife and sighed, I've done too many bad things, and I'm always on tenterhooks. I always feel that retribution will appear on the child. No matter who reincarnated him, he's still my son. But I also hope that he's not someone's reincarnation. Wah! Reverend Lon Shuahan turned to leave, but the moment he closed the door, Reverend Lon Shuahan suddenly opened his eyes. A heaven-defying Tao imprint appeared on his forehead. 10 tribulations, 10 lives, but Yi Qinghan's memories had yet to awaken, and his body was too weak now. Wah! The heaven-defying Tao imprint flashed, and a treasure light circulated around his body. In the cold Forbidden Era, Reverend Lon Shuahan was hidden in the mansion for 3 years. Other than Reverend Lon Shuahan and his wife, no one else had seen this child. Even if someone accidentally bumped into him, the only outcome was death. At 3 years old, Reverend Lon Shuahan's aura seemed reserved. His eyes flashed with light, and his might was even stronger than Reverend Lon Shuahan's fourth form. Lu Guangzun Lon looked at his son and felt fear from the bottom of his heart. His eyes were too frightening, but other than that, his other expressions and actions were only slightly more mature than other children. In the back garden, Flowing Light Zun Lon sat on a chair in the corridor, looking at Flowing Light Snow standing in the snow, staring at the blooming plum blossoms. His battle robes fluttered in the wind. He was actually not afraid of the cold weather at all. Shuahan, what are you looking at? Senior Lon asked curiously. Flowing Light Snowy stretched out her small hand and pinched a snowflake. Very gently, she said in a low voice, I'm looking at Dharma and order. Flowing Light Senior Blue gasped. The Dharma and Logos order was something that could be seen by ordinary people. Only the masters of the Taiga Emperor could see it. Flowing Light Hanshue was only 3 years old. She hadn't cultivated yet. She didn't even have any spiritual energy fluctuations in her body. How could she know about the Dharma and Logos order? Flowing Light Senior Blue turned to stare at his wife and asked in a deep voice, Did you teach him this term? His wife shook her head and said in a panic, Husband, how could I teach him this term at this time? I didn't mention anything about cultivation. Flowing Light Snowy smiled slightly. Her innocent look made one's heart ache. Father, Mother, I don't need anyone to teach me this. The Dharma and Logos order are telling me the meaning of their existence. Flowing Light Snowy looked at Flowing Light Senior Blue and the beautiful woman in front of her and said crisply. Flowing Light Senior Blue's body stiffened. If this child wasn't Yi Qinghan, then he must be the son of heaven and earth. However, no matter which one it was incomparably shocking. Especially in the era of forbidden law. If he could grow up, he could break the era of darkness. If not, the entire Flowing Light Hall would be destroyed. Whoosh! Da-da-da! Outside the Flowing Light Hall, the restless sound of an army rushing could be heard. Flowing Light Senior Blue was shocked. He hurriedly waved his hand and said, Take Shuahan and hide. Bang! Boom! Lu Feng kicked open the door. Holding the emperor's sword in his hand, he said coldly, "No need." Flowing Light Senior Blue was so frightened that he knelt on the ground. He said in horror, "Sir, please spare my child. For the sake of my loyalty and devotion to you." Lu Feng didn't look at Flowing Light Senior Blue. Instead, he stared at Flowing Light Snowy. Boom! At this moment, Flowing Light Snowy flashed. In his sea of consciousness, a bolt of lightning tore through the void. Lu Feng's appearance had triggered his memory. Lu Feng, an old acquaintance from back then. Yi Qinghan returned. Looking at Lu Feng's sinister expression, he slowly walked in front of Flowing Light Senior Blue. He reached out his hand to help his father up and grabbed the Flowing Light Immortal Sword at Flowing Light Senior Blue's waist. Hua! Yi Qinghan used his 3-year-old body to hold the sword, but he had a heaven-defying aura. However, his aura was restrained and only Lu Feng could sense it. Hua! Thud, thud, thud. Lu Feng took several steps back. Although he had eaten a heavenly herb as an emperor and reached the pseudo-half-martial ancestor realm, when he saw Yi Qinghan's eyes, he couldn't help but take a few steps back. "Sir Lu, long time no see," Yi Qinghan said softly. Lu Feng's fingertips trembled as he grabbed the emperor's sword. His lips were dry as he swallowed his saliva. What? Lu Feng pondered for a long time. Then, he closed the door and waved his hand to conceal time and space. He stared at Yi Qinghan's young face and eyes. "There's no need to conceal. The primordial yin-yang cannot find me." Yi Qinghan's divine light flashed. The dark clouds in the sky dispersed. All things were within his thoughts. Yi Qinghan asked calmly, "Lu Feng, you worked so hard to kill babies and pregnant women. You curried favor with the primordial yin-yang to reach the pseudo-half-martial ancestor realm?" Lu Feng shook his head and replied firmly, "No. The reason why I killed was because I hoped that the primordial yin-yang would trust me and not come looking for you personally. Otherwise, it wouldn't be me who came looking for you today. It would be someone else or even him." Yi Qinghan chuckled and asked, "Did I misunderstand you?" Lu Feng looked at Lu Feng and his wife and said coldly, "Go back into the house. You are not allowed to come out without my permission." Hua! Lu Feng didn't dare to say anything else. He immediately pulled his wife into the mansion and blocked out the outside world. "Mansion Lord Yi, since I dared to investigate Emperor Yuan's death back then, I dare to do so again in this life. Now that you have undergone 10 tribulations and reincarnations, Lord Yen Emperor might return. Why wouldn't I dare to take this gamble? I've had enough of this dark forbidden technique era. Who in the world isn't on tenterhooks? Lu Feng is afraid that I'll kill his entire family, but why wouldn't I be afraid of the primordial yin-yang killing my entire family? Right now, I can only use cruel slaughter to make the primordial yin-yang trust me. I have no other choice." Lu Feng said solemnly. Although Yi Qinghan hadn't awakened his memories in the past 3 years, he still remembered some of Lu Feng's memories. In the dark forbidden technique era, apart from the 2 ancestor realm experts, everyone was on tenterhooks. No one knew if they could survive the next moment. I'll tell you the truth. I've killed some of the Assassin Legion, the Ancient Massacre God, the Inner and Outer Sects, and the Conquering Heaven Camp. However, I had no choice. In front of the primordial yin-yang, if I didn't kill them, I would die too. Lu Feng said solemnly, "However, when the primordial yin-yang isn't here, I will use the lives of others to exchange for some experts of the primordial yin-yang. There are at least 8,000 people of the primordial yin-yang hidden by me. If I die, not to mention those who died before, even these 8,000 won't be able to survive." Yi Qinghan's heart was filled with hatred, but he couldn't blame Lu Feng. He was speaking the truth. Chapter 2899. Asterisk. At this moment, Yi Qinghan was only 3 years old. He looked up at the sky and sighed, showing his age. In this life, he had transcended, completely transcending the 5 elements. However, he had not reached the ancestor realm, so his heaven-defying Tao was not complete. He might not be a match for the Flame Ancestor. Who knew how long it would take for the Flame Emperor's great Tao of the Flame Emperor to be complete? However, Yi Qinghan did not dare to tell Lu Feng. Lu Feng's attitude was ambiguous. If he had the chance, he might betray him. What's the situation now? Yi Qinghan held the flowing light sword. His small hand had the strength of an adult. He was right in front of Lu Feng, but he was not in the five elements. As long as Lu Feng closed his eyes, he would not be able to sense Yi Qinghan's existence. It wasn't that Lu Feng was enlightened, but that he had left a path for himself, a path that was wider and wider. He had been waiting for this day, for the people from Wanquang Manor to give him a way out. Lu Feng took a deep breath and said, "Immemorial Yin Yang and Flame Ancestor Yen, you are looking for Lord Flame Emperor's corpse. However, they have not found it yet. They still care about Lord Flame Emperor. As for you, they left me and the ancient Heavenly Emperor in charge. The ancient Heavenly Emperor is even more ruthless than me. He killed the people of Wanquang Manor directly, not giving them a chance to live." Yi Qinghan tapped the flowing light sword with his fingertips and waved his hand to control the snow order. Snow covered the red divine region and a snow sword appeared in his hand. "In, qua. Yi Qinghan pretended to be strong and said, "I have already transcended the five elements. My life and death are not bound by the myriad order. Immemorial Yin Yang cannot kill me. I am grateful that you have spared the lives of the people of Wanquang Manor. When Lord Flame Emperor returns, half of this vast ancient immortal world will be yours. I believe that Lord Flame Emperor will not care, and neither will I." Lu Feng was overjoyed and said respectfully, "Thank you, Manor Lord." Yi Qinghan slowly turned around and looked at the bowing Lu Feng. He asked coldly, "Have you found Qiu Tianyu? Where is it?" Lu Feng took a deep breath, bowed, and replied, "I only know the location of the Qiu Heaven domain for now. Moreover, there's an avatar of the primordial Yin Yang inside. I can't enter, and I'm afraid you can't enter for now either. Arrange an identity for me, an identity to enter the Red God Region Academy." Yi Qinghan said calmly. Lu Feng immediately nodded and said, "No problem. I've always been in charge of the academy. I can guarantee that no one will dare to suspect anyone." Yi Qinghan looked straight at Lu Feng, nodded and said, "Okay. Before you leave, hand over the person who leaked the secret to me. Who told you that a child was born in the flowing light manor?" Lu Feng was sweating profusely. The head steward of the flowing light manor was one of his men. He was monitoring everyone and only wanted to find Yi Qinghan in advance. Whether to kill or save, it all depended on Yi Qinghan's strength and whether or not he had awakened. Today, he came with killing intent. When he kicked open the door, Yi Qinghan had already felt it. "It's the head steward of your manor." Lu Feng bowed and said, "Bring him to me. Don't alert anyone." Yi Qinghan waved his small hand and a chair made of snow appeared behind him. He slowly sat down. The chair was sparkling and translucent, and immortal light filled the air. Lu Feng was afraid of Yi Qinghan, but Yi Qinghan would not kill him. He was also afraid of immemorial Yin Yang, but immemorial Yin Yang could kill him whenever he wanted. Deep in his heart, he was still willing to let Yi Qinghan control the world. At the very least, he would not kill the innocent. Therefore, he did not dare to act recklessly and did not want to act recklessly. Lu Feng left the courtyard, leaving Yi Qinghan alone. Soon, Lu Feng brought over an old man. He was the head steward of the Flowing Light Manor. He had followed the Flowing Light Manor for many years, but he had betrayed the manor. Yi Qinghan had never seen this steward before, but this steward was able to sense the existence of this young master. Yi Qinghan stared at this old man and asked, "Were you the one who told Lord Lu Feng that a new baby was born in the Flowing Light Manor?" This steward clearly did not notice the fear in Lu Feng's eyes. He did not even suspect Lu Feng's loyalty to immemorial Yin Yang. He felt that Lu Feng would definitely slaughter the entire Flowing Light Manor today, and he would instantly become Lu Feng's right-hand man. Therefore, he proudly replied, "This old man was the one who said it. For the past 3 years, Flowing Light Manor would run to the backyard whenever he had nothing to do. Moreover, he did not allow anyone to enter the backyard. Even I, the head steward, could not enter. Even menial tasks like serving food had to be done personally." Kacha! Boom! Lu Feng broke the steward's legs with a kick, causing him to kneel on the ground. Ah woo woo! The steward let out a heart-wrenching scream, but before he could open his mouth, Lu Feng had already covered it. Yi Qinghan shook his head and gestured for Lu Feng to let go of his mouth. He calmly asked, "Did you tell anyone else about this?" At this moment, the steward looked at Lu Feng again. The smile on his face had disappeared, and only fear and despair remained. He did not expect that Lu Feng was not loyal to the immemorial Yin-Yang immortal emperor, but to the child in front of him. "You better be obedient and tell me. Otherwise, I will pry open your head and look at your soul," Yi Qinghan coldly said. "No. Young master, I definitely did not. I only told Lord Lu Feng." The steward knelt on the ground in fear and begged, "Young master, please spare my life." "Pucci!" Lu Feng's sword pierced through the steward's head. His soul was destroyed, and his corpse fell to the ground. How dare a traitor like him beg the palace master for mercy? Lu Feng's eyes flashed coldly as he kicked the corpse away. He then cupped his fists and said, "Palace master, don't worry. Even if someone knows, I can shut them up completely." Yi Qinghan nodded and calmly said, "I can rest assured leaving this matter to you. Use the name Flowing Light Snowy to create a new identity for me. From today onwards, there will be no palace master or Yi Qinghan. There will only be Flowing Light Snowy." "Yes, palace." Lu Feng was just about to bow when he saw Yi Qinghan's glare. He immediately changed his words and said, "Flowing Light Snowy, this emperor sees that your constitution is excellent. There is no problem with your identity. Follow this emperor to the Red God Region Academy and cultivate well. In the future, you will serve the immemorial Yin-Yang immortal emperor." Yi Qinghan. Oh no, there was only Flowing Light Snowy now. His name was filled with killing intent. He slowly stood up and cupped his fists and bowed, "Thank you for your advice." Flowing Light Snowy naturally had his own considerations for entering the academy. His cultivation was not at the ancestor realm, so his heaven-defying Tao was not complete. Without a suitable identity and cultivation location, the Flowing Light Manor could not protect him. Today, the steward betrayed him. In the future, there would be a new servant betraying him. The next moment, he might become a direct descendant of the Flowing Light Manor. Identities had to be exposed to the light. If one did not dare to be exposed to the light, even if there was no problem, there would be suspicions. Lu Feng summoned Flowing Light Zunlan and said solemnly, "There is no problem with your son's identity. I see that he is talented and has excellent qualifications. I am willing to bring him into the Red God Region Academy. Are you willing?" Flowing Light Zunlan was overjoyed. He had suspected that his son was Yi Qinghan's 10 tribulations 10 lives. He did not expect Lu Feng to personally approve of his identity. "Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. This little one will definitely go through a mountain of swords and a sea of fire for you." Flowing Light Zunlan said humbly. Lu Feng nodded and said, "In the future, there is no need to hide and avoid attracting gossip. This time, it was the steward who told me. Next time, it might be a direct descendant of your Flowing Light Manor who told the Yin-Yang ancestor something." Yes. Flowing Light Zunlan nodded respectfully. "Thank you, Lord, for your reminder. This little one understands." Lu Feng nodded with satisfaction and said, "In the future, if you find anyone from the Crazy Manor, capture them alive. This emperor will torture them and force them to reveal the whereabouts of more experts from the Crazy Manor. You must not act on your own, understand?" Yes. Flowing Light Zunlan was sweating profusely despite being in the cold snow. "Flowing Light Snowy, why are you not leaving with me?" Lu Feng said coldly. The 3-year-old Flowing Light Snowy's wise eyes disappeared. He bowed and said, "Thank you, Lord." Hua! Lu Feng brought Lu Guang Shuehan out of the Flowing Light Hall. He looked at the army and said coldly, "The head steward of the Flowing Light Hall is full of nonsense. This child, Lu Guang Shuehan, has an excellent foundation and was born a year before the Heartless Tao. He is now 4 years old and the dates don't match at all. I can see that he has extraordinary talent and is a good seedling for cultivation. Therefore, I am bringing him back to the college to cultivate so that he can serve the Yin-Yang ancestor in the future." Chapter 2900. Flowing Light Manor was surrounded by a large number of troops, but no one dared to join in the fun. This kind of calamity could happen to anyone at any time. With the most ruthless Lu Feng, the representative of Yin Yang, announcing Flowing Light Snowy's identity, no one dared to doubt it. At this moment, Flowing Light Snowy had restrained his wisdom, only 70% fear and 30% calmness. Those who didn't know him wouldn't be able to understand his gaze. Lu Feng brought Flowing Light Snowy into the Red God Region Academy. Most of the people here were children of high status in the government. However, there were almost none of them who were 3 or 4 years old. This was because people of this age had either been killed by Lu Feng or had gone into hiding like Flowing Light Snowy before, not daring to show themselves. The academy wasn't huge. After all, there weren't many people who could cultivate in the academy. In a region, unless one was extremely talented, no one else was qualified to enter the academy. Yi Qinghan's divine sense flashed and sensed that the students in the academy were divided into 3 groups. There were more than 300 people under 10 years old, 3,000 between 10 and 20 years old, and 8,000 between 20 and 3,000 years old. These 10,000 people were all elites. Their hostility towards the crazy manor was the most genuine. They were loyal to Lu Feng, but ultimately, they were loyal to the ancestor realm, immemorial Yin Yang. As long as immemorial Yin Yang gave the order, they would kill Lu Feng. Moreover, they would kill without hesitation. There were also 70 to 80 top experts in the academy. They were responsible for teaching the students cultivation. These top experts all cultivated in different directions, including the laws of the Great Tao and ancient immortal realm. Flowing Light Snowy, follow me. Lu Feng was incomparably dignified. In this era, other than the 2 ancestor realm experts, he was the highest existence on the pyramid. No one dared to question him. The Flowing Light Snowy held the flowing light sword that was taller than him and took small steps. It seemed like he was undermining the dignity of the crazy manor lord. However, this was the time to put up a pretense. Yi Qinghan wanted to save more people while waiting for the heaven-defying Tao Perfection stage and Yen Emperor's return. He needed a good place to settle down. This academy was the best place. The academy was the residence of all the teachers. Some of them were appointed by immemorial Yin Yang, while some were chosen by Lu Feng himself. Crooks mixed in with the honest folk. No one could be completely trusted. Lu Feng had absolute power here. No one dared to provoke him. Lu Feng brought Lu Guang and Xue Han into the academy. At this moment, all of the instructors were inside. When they saw Lu Feng personally arrive, they immediately bowed and bent their knees, not daring to show the slightest bit of disrespect. This is the child of the Flowing Light family, Lu Guang Xue Han. There is no problem with his identity. He is extremely talented and intelligent. He is a good seedling for cultivation. The Flowing Light family has served me and the Yin Yang ancestor for so many years. His son must also serve me and the Yin Yang ancestor. I will hand Lu Guang Xue Han over to. Lu Feng scanned the 70 to 80 experts and finally fixed his eyes on a member of his family, Lu Qingyun. He was also the son of the Yuan Emperor. However, his seniority was much lower than Lu Feng's. Lu Qingyun immediately said respectfully, "Yes, sir." Although they were from the same clan, Lu Qingyun had never dared to address Lu Feng as ancestor. This was because this was an official's field. There were only ranks and no seniority. Have you checked the identities of these students recently? Lu Feng asked coldly as he swept his gaze over the instructors. Everyone quickly replied, "Sir, the checks have been completed. There are no suspicious people." The killing intent in Lu Feng's eyes was definitely not a joke. Even if the Yin Yang ancestor were here personally, he would believe that Lu Feng was sincerely serving him. It's best if there are no suspicious people. If there are any suspicious people, report to me immediately. Do not make decisions on your own. Lu Feng scanned the crowd and said coldly, "If you can catch Yi Qinghan of the 10 tribulations, you can become the Taigu Emperor at any time. You will be second only to me and above everyone else." Everyone bowed and bent their knees, not daring to disobey. Lu Guang Xue Han glanced at the crowd. He knew that in this era of forbidden techniques, no one was safe. Lu Qingyun, arrange a place for him to stay. I will not stay here for long. Whoosh! Lu Feng flicked his sleeves and turned to leave, leaving behind a group of instructors who were drenched in cold sweat. At this moment, Lu Guangshuihan was extremely respectful and polite. He held the flowing light sword in his hand and bowed. Lu Guangshuihan greets the instructors. Who wouldn't give Lu Feng some face when he brought him here? Lu Qingyun quickly extended his hand and said, Shuihan, I will introduce you to the instructors one by one tomorrow. I will bring you to stay here first so that you can greet the other students and avoid being ostracized. Very quickly, Lu Qingyun brought Lu Guangshui to an independent dormitory. This was a place that only the instructors of the academy had the right to stay. It was surrounded by mountains and rivers, and the spiritual energy was dense. Because Lu Feng brought him here, Lu Qingyun did not dare to neglect him and wanted to curry favor with him. If Lu Feng recognized him and became the person in charge of the Red God Region Academy, there would be many benefits. Shuihan, this is the best place in the academy. You can stay here. If the Lord asks, you must say that he is very satisfied. Lu Qingyun seemed to be coaxing Lu Guangshuihan. However, he did not know that the person in front of him was not a 3-year-old child, but an old monster who had lived for hundreds of thousands of years. Lu Guangshuihan smiled and replied respectfully, Thank you for taking care of me. I am very satisfied with your arrangement. That's good. That's good. Today, you can get used to the environment. If you need anything, you can tell me in advance. Lu Qingyun said confidently. Lu Guangshuihan's eyes flashed and said respectfully, Teacher, I like to read books, especially the historical records. Can you give me some? Pa, you are a good child who likes to read. However, do you know how to read? Lu Qingyun asked curiously. Lu Guangshuihan immediately bowed and replied, My parents taught me how to read since I was young, so I know a little. If I come across any words that I do not know, can I ask for your help? No problem. Lu Qingyun immediately left the room and went to the library to look for historical records. At this moment, Yan Yunbei's figure flashed across the spiritual rock mountain, searching for the people of the crazy manor. In 3 months, Yan Yunbei was responsible for clearing out everyone in the mountain. However, the domain master sent an army to guard the 4 corners of the mountain and coldly watched the spiritual rock mountain. If anyone comes out alive, kill them. The domain master said coldly. Yes, sir. The army was uniform and imposing. They were equipped with the best equipment and there were many of them. It was easy for them to kill the scattered experts of the crazy manor. Chapter 2901. If the territorial lord wanted to make a contribution, he would either capture or kill the people from the insane manor. If Lord Yen comes out, One of the commanders bowed and asked. A cold glint flashed across Domain Master Yun Yan's eyes. He was starting to suspect Yan Yunbei's identity. All these years, Yan Yunbei had been doing business, but he had directly given away all his wealth. This was very suspicious. Now, he had actually taken the initiative to help clean up the remnants of Kuang Manor. He's probably one of the higher-ups of the insane manor. If I can capture him alive, Lord Lu Feng will definitely reward me handsomely. If I can get a heavenly herb, the territorial lord muttered to himself. However, he didn't think that he could capture the higher-ups of the insane manor as he wished. The territorial lord saw the reward, but he ignored a lot of things because of the heavenly herb. At this moment, Yan Yunbei had found at least 300 experts from the insane manor. There were the ancient massacre god, the inner sect experts, the conquering heaven camp, and a few from the assassin legion. Now that the people from the insane manor were scattered, there was no way for them to gather together. If they did, they would all be killed in one fell swoop. Yan Yunbei took out his dagger and said, Everyone, follow me and leave the spiritual rock mountain. 300 experts wasn't a small number, but they were still struggling like ants. Yan Yunbei brought more than 300 experts and shuttled through the ravines of the deep mountains. He didn't dare to take the risk of peeking his head out. Obviously, Yan Yunbei couldn't completely trust the Cloud Mist Region Master. After all, those who contributed would receive the heavenly medicine. This was a reward that would make anyone go crazy. The 300 experts gradually left the ravines and prepared to head to the uprising pavilion. However, at this moment, the army surrounded the exit. "Brother Bei Chuan, why don't you leave this group of people to me?" the territorial lord said indifferently. Yan Yunbei's eyes flashed coldly and he said, "All right, as long as the territorial lord can make a contribution, there's nothing you can't do." The people from the insane manor trusted Yan Yunbei unconditionally and didn't even resist. They put away their weapons and waited to be captured. Yan Yunbei's lips curled into a cold smile. He then extended his hand and said, "Region Lord Yun Yen, can we talk in private?" The territorial lord looked at Yan Yunbei. However, he had millions of soldiers behind him. Even if Yan Yunbei was in the emperor realm, what could he do? After killing for 3 to 5 days, Lu Feng would definitely come to help. Therefore, he did not think that Yan Yunbei would dare to resist. "All right, brother Yan. We're old friends. You have done a lot for us. If I don't give you some face, I won't be able to justify it," Territory Master Yun Yen said indifferently. The two of them walked side by side away from the army. "Can you guess who I am?" Yan Yunbei asked calmly. Area Master Yun Yen glanced at Yan Yunbei. Although he didn't know much about Kuang Manor, the older generation of Kuang Manor had mostly left for the edge of the universe, but some must have stayed behind. "If I'm not mistaken, you should be Yan Yunbei, the leader of the Assassin Legion," Yun Yen said calmly. Yan Yunbei waved the dagger in his hand and replied indifferently, "It's good that you know. I don't dare to say that I can assassinate Yin Yang and Yen Yu, but I still have 30% confidence in killing Lu Feng and the ancient heavenly emperor, not to mention these so-called 108 domain lords. Do you have the life to take the resources and enjoy them? You can betray me today, but I can guarantee that you won't live past tomorrow. If you don't believe me, you can try." Area Master Yun Yen took a deep breath. Looking at the murderous intent in Yan Yunbei's eyes, he understood that numbers were useless in front of the Taigu Emperor. This was especially true for someone like Yan Yunbei, who was in charge of assassinations. Taking the head of an enemy general was as easy as taking something out of his pocket. To tell you the truth, I have been to dozens of large domains in the past few thousand years. I have seen many domain lords. Those who did not cooperate with me are all dead. Area Master Yun Yen, there is no need for me to speak so harshly, Yan Yunbei threatened coldly. Area Master Yun Yen shuddered and quickly smiled. "Don't be angry, Brother Yen. I just want to capture them and use the lives of others to exchange for their lives. You can take away the remaining members of Kuang Manor, and I will take the credit. It's the best of both worlds. I like smart people. You can take them away, but if one of them dies, I will bury your entire family with him," Yan Yunbei said coldly. Area Master Yun Yen said righteously, "You and I have been brothers for many years. Why would I do such a thing? Besides, Kuang Manor isn't the only powerful force hiding in the world. We can't kill every single one of them. We are just trying to make a living. There is no need to kill every single one of them. Don't you agree?" "As long as you understand," Yan Yunbei said with a smile. The two came to an agreement. Area Master Yun Yen knew that Yan Yunbei could kill him at any time. How could he give up his life? The two walked side by side and returned to the foot of Spirit Rock Mountain. The army had surrounded the 300 people of Kuang Manor. Hundreds of thousands of people against hundreds of people. No matter how strong these experts were, they couldn't kill them all. Domain Master Yun Yan's face was full of smiles. He cupped his hands and said, "Brother Beichuan, thank you for giving me such a big favor and allowing me to contribute." Yan Yunbei said indifferently, "For the sake of peace, this old man is only doing his best." Area Master Yun Yen immediately waved his hand, "Capture them alive." The army quickly surrounded them and shackled them, sealing their limbs and bones. Area Master Yun Yen led the army back to the main city and announced the day of the execution. However, on that night the 300 experts of Kuang Manor were replaced. There were many people from other powerful sects in the prison who played a key role. Yan Yunbei was also silently contemplating the issue. Keeping these insane manor experts by his side was always going to be a problem. The experts he had discovered in other regions had been assigned to various regions' armies. Only the members of the Assassin Legion remained by his side. This was because these people were originally in charge of intelligence and assassination. If they didn't even have the ability to hide, they wouldn't qualify to join the Assassin Legion. Some of the area masters had already been taken care of. Area Master Yunyan was too cunning. Yan Yunbei didn't dare to trust him completely. However, Yan Yunbei had no other choice. The most dangerous place was also the safest place. The army of each region was the safest place. No one would investigate the army, not even Lu Feng. Yan Yunbei silently appeared in the Domain Master's manor. At this moment, Area Master Yun Yen was reporting to his superiors. He was secretly delighted. It was a great achievement to capture a few hundred experts of Quang Manor. A cold light flashed and a dagger was pressed against Area Master Yun Yan's neck. He didn't even have time to react. The difference between him and Yan Yunbei was too big. Hiss! Area Master Yun Yen sucked in a breath of cold air and slowly raised his hand. He didn't even dare to look back. Yan Yunbei put away the dagger and said coldly, "Brother Yun Yen, can you place these 300 people in the army?" Area Master Yun Yen didn't dare to disobey. He could only nod and say, "No problem. I have no objections to Brother Yan's arrangement." Yan Yunbei coldly looked at Area Master Yun Yen and glanced at his table. He asked calmly, "Are you sending a message to Lu Feng?" Chapter 2902. Region Master Yun Yen was too unreliable. He was just an opportunist. If Lu Feng arrived in time, Yan Yunbei wouldn't be able to escape. That would be a great achievement. Even if he didn't arrive in time, it would still be a great achievement. Looking at Yan Yunbei's cold eyes, Region Master Yun Yen pretended to be relaxed and said, "Brother Yan, don't worry. When the news reaches Lord Lu Feng, we will have already executed those people and destroyed their corpses. I will take the credit and arrange for those people to stay in the army. Even if Lord Lu Feng comes, he won't be able to find anything." Yan Yunbei's eyes flashed. After thinking for a while, he said calmly, "Lure Lu Feng here." Region Master Yun Yen was shocked. He knew that Yan Yunbei wanted to assassinate Lu Feng. "Brother Yan, you can't do that. Lord Lu Feng is already a half-martial ancestor. Even the primordial emperor would not be able to injure him. Furthermore, if he were to be assassinated in my territory, I would not be able to keep my life," Domain Master Cloud Smoke exclaimed. A few days later, Lu Feng received a few pieces of information. It was from the Region Master Yun Yen. However, it wasn't just from Region Master Yun Yen. There were also other pieces of information sent by his spies. Lu Feng wanted to get on Yi Qinghan's good side. He immediately sent the information to the college and found his location. "Shuahan, this is a message from Yun Yen region. There are 3 of them. One is about the capture of Quang Fu's expert, another is about the exchange of the expert's life by Yun Yen region's leader, and the last one should be about Yan Yunbei," Lu Feng said calmly. Shuahan was flipping through the ancient records. When he heard the 3 pieces of information, he immediately closed the book. "Go see Yan Yunbei. Tell him to come see me. I have a very important task for him." Shuahan stood up. Although he was only 3 years old, he had an aura that even half-step ancestor wouldn't dare to disobey. "Yes." Lu Feng bowed slightly. What? Lu Feng had come quickly and left even faster. No one had noticed him at all. Lu Feng's speed was extremely fast. He shuttled through different regions and rushed towards the Region Master Yun Yen. At this moment, frigid snow rubbed her forehead and looked at the ancient records. These were all historical events that happened in the past 3,000 years. Some of them explained the ancient Heavenly Emperor. Over the past few thousand years, the ancient Heavenly Emperor had killed no less than 300,000 people, including members of the Assassin Legion, the Inner Sect, Outer Sect, and the 1st and 2nd Battalions of the Heavenly Conquest Battalion. Sometimes, when the ancient Heavenly Emperor couldn't tell who was wrong, he would rather kill the wrong person than let them go. "Ancient Heavenly Emperor, no wonder Lord Liang wanted to help me get rid of you. I saved you twice, and this is how you repay me?" Flowing light snow looked out of the window. It was snowing heavily outside. The laws of order were stable, and the great Tao of Yin and Yang was especially powerful. As time passed, more and more people cultivated the great Tao of Yin and Yang. The great Tao of Yin and Yang would become stronger, and the primordial Yin and Yang would become stronger. In the academy, the great Tao of Yin and Yang was a compulsory course. Those who cultivated the great Tao of Yin and Yang could be controlled by the primordial Yin and Yang at any time. For example, the ancient heavenly emperor cultivated the great Tao of Yen Emperor. As long as the Yen Emperor's celestial body was willing, he could unleash powerful strength. Flowing light snow unsheathed her sword and waved it in the wind and snow. It contained the great Tao of heaven. Wherever the sword light passed, the order of the snowflakes would be reversed. It contained a sharp killing intent. However, the powerful aura here couldn't be felt from outside the courtyard. Bush. Flowing light sword moved, and immortal light filled the air. Against the great Tao of heaven, against the laws and principles, against the order. The great Tao of heaven is not benevolent, and all living things are doomed. I shall use my sword to dispel the clouds and see the sun. Whoosh. Flowing light snow danced in the snow, leaving no footprints. Her sword aura was like a rainbow. With one strike, 10,000 snow swords followed. In an instant, they merged into one, and had the power to destroy heaven and earth. The most important thing now was time. It was almost impossible to complete the great Tao of heaven without tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years. Moreover, the time of the Yen Emperor's return was uncertain. Even if Yi Qinghan completed the great Tao of heaven, without the help of the Yen Emperor, he wouldn't be able to fight against two progenitors. Boom. The flowing light sword pierced the ground and stood under Flowing Light Snow's feet. Flowing Light Snow's eyes were filled with disdain as she said, "Ancient Heavenly Emperor, you will die within 300 years. It wasn't that easy to kill the ancient Heavenly Emperor. Back then, his battle strength was already at the level of an emperor. Even if he couldn't use the great Tao of Yen Emperor, he could still use the human Tao. It was impossible for Yen Yu not to increase his strength." Flowing Light Snow took a few deep breaths and exhaled a scorching hot turbid breath. The killing intent in her eyes was self-evident. If she wanted to kill someone now, she would need a terrifying scheming ability. Making the ancient Heavenly Emperor die in the hands of Yen Yu would be the best choice. However, Yen Yu might not kill the ancient Heavenly Emperor. The eyes of a 3-year-old contained wisdom that adults couldn't match. Many people flashed through Flowing Light Snow's mind. Jing Tianju, Chu Shi, Jun Xian, Lu Feng, Gu Jiutian, and the ancient Heavenly Emperor. None of them had a blood feud with each other, but once they contacted each other, they would have a great relationship. Jing Tianju was killed by Chu Jun. Although he is dead, he will definitely want to take revenge on Chu Shi's bloodline. Without connections and power, it's impossible to take revenge on Chu Shi's bloodline. I will lure Jing Tianju to fight with the ancient Heavenly Emperor. With Lu Feng's help, as long as the story develops cleverly, there will be many opportunities to kill someone. Flowing Light Snow unsheathed her sword smoothly. In the realm of cloud smoke, Lu Feng appeared at the teleportation stele. Many spies were secretly sending him messages. Lu Feng's eyes flashed coldly. He hadn't expected the Realm Master to be so daring. In order to survive, he had actually exchanged the lives of more than 300 experts from the Crazed Manor. He had even dared to use fake corpses to claim credit. Other Realm Masters wouldn't dare to do such a thing. Lu Feng stepped into the Realm Manor, sword in hand, and went straight to the main hall. At this moment, Realm Master Yun Yen was waiting humbly, not daring to slack off in the slightest. "Where are the corpses?" Lu Feng went straight to the point. Realm Master Yun Yen immediately ordered the 3 Realmlings to personally open the ice coffins. He bowed and said, "Sir, please investigate." They were all experts from the Crazed Manor. This old servant had to expend a tremendous amount of effort to kill them. Lu Feng glanced at him and coldly said, "Throw them away. Consider this a great contribution. Next time, I want them alive. Do you understand?" Realm Master Yun Yen was overjoyed, as he knew that he had passed this time. He immediately said respectfully, "Thank you for your support, sir. Next time, I will definitely capture them alive." "There's no need for next time. This time, let Yen Beichuan come and see me, Lu Feng said coldly. Realm Master Yun Yen was shocked. He hadn't expected Lu Feng to know this person's name. Didn't that mean that Lu Feng knew everything that he had done? Lu Feng looked down at Realm Master Yun Yen and sneered. If you don't want others to know, then don't do it in the first place. Yun Yen, I appointed you as the Realm Master, but you actually dared to betray me. Plop. Realm Master Yun Yen was so frightened that he immediately knelt down and kowtowed as he begged for mercy. Sir, please spare me. I had no choice. I couldn't defeat that person from the crazed manor, but they were all in the army and were under my control. I was just waiting for you to come and seek justice for me. Realm Master Yun Yen couldn't stand being frightened, so he immediately revealed Yen Yunbei's identity. Lu Feng waved his hand and sent Realm Master Yun Yen flying with a slap. I'll give you one more chance. Bring Yen Beichuan here. This is your only chance. If you miss it, don't blame me for being impolite, Lu Feng said coldly. Realm Master Yun Yen hurriedly crawled in front of Lu Feng and respectfully said, Sir, please wait in the main hall. I'll go and trick Yen Beichuan here. Then, Realm Master Yun Yen immediately scrambled out of the main hall. The remaining 3 Realmlings paled, not daring to utter a single word. A moment later, Yen Yunbei accompanied Realm Master Yun Yen into the main hall. Only then did Yen Yunbei realize that Lu Feng had already arrived at Realm Master Yun Yen. A murderous intent flashed through his eyes as he gripped a dagger in his hand. 6 pairs of eyes met, and only Realm Master Yun Yen was terrified. It would be too easy for the 2 people in front of him to kill him. Chapter 2903. The 6 of them looked at each other, and Yen Yunbei drew his dagger. However, there was no killing intent in Lu Feng's eyes. Instead, he shook his head and calmly said, Brother Yen, there's no need to be nervous. Let's talk about our matters later. I'll clean up the sect first. Yen Yunbei was stunned, as he did not know what Lu Feng meant. However, Domain Master Yun Yen was so frightened that he fell to his knees. Yun Yen, you replaced the remaining members of Kuang Manor. Did you do a clean job? Lu Feng asked coldly. Domain Master Yun Yen hurriedly kowtowed and said, Sir, please spare my life. I'm asking you a question, so you better answer me directly. If you hide anything, no one in Yun Yen Manor will be left alive. Lu Feng said coldly as he slowly sat down. Domain Master Yun Yen was terrified, and his entire body trembled as he said, This was all done by my loyalists and clansmen. No one will leak this information. Lu Feng sneered and calmly said, Summon all of your loyalists. I have something to say. Domain Master Yun Yen did not dare to say anything else, and he could only order the Realmlings to summon all of his loyalists and clansmen. After an incense stick's worth of time, everyone had gathered outside the manor. There were roughly 300 to 400 people. Lu Feng walked in front of Domain Master Yun Yen and coldly said, Don't you know? Only the dead can be trusted. Slash. The Emperor's sword pierced through Domain Master Yun Yen, instantly killing him. Yen Yunbei was shocked, as he did not know what Lu Feng wanted to do. However, Lu Feng did not say anything. Instead, he slaughtered his way out, killing everyone he saw. Domain Master Yun Yen was slaughtered, and 3 Realmlings were blown to smithereens. Whoosh, whoosh, slash. Whoosh. Ah. Lu Feng personally charged into the crowd and killed all of Domain Master Yun Yan's loyalists and clansmen. Miserable screams filled the air. Everyone listen up. Domain Master Yun Yen is a surviving member of Kuang Manor, and he actually dared to use a death row prisoner to save more than 300 of them. Today I will kill all of them. In the future, anyone who dares to betray Lord Yin Yang Ancestor will have their entire family executed. Lu Feng's body was covered in blood, and his eyes were bloodshot. Yu Jun sucked in a breath of cold air. He was terrified of Lu Feng because, like the ancient heavenly emperor, he had the power to decide life and death. Men, burn these remaining people. Also, capture all the people from the Yun Yen lineage and throw them into the death cell. Lu Feng sheathed his emperor's sword and turned to enter the Domain Manor's hall. At this moment, Yen Yunbei stared at Lu Feng, not knowing what he wanted to do. Lu Feng kicked Domain Master Yun Yen out of the hall and closed the door behind him. Then, he said indifferently, Brother Yen, I'm here to clean up the remaining members of the Domain Master Yunyan's faction. Also, I'm here to deliver a message for someone. Yen Yunbei took a deep breath and asked in a deep voice, Who is it? Flowing light snow, 3 years old. Lu Feng looked straight at Yen Yunbei. He didn't dare to say the words 10 tribulations 10 lives and Yi Qinghan, because these words were taboo. Once he said them, it would be easily detected by the great Tao of Yin and Yang. These words might be fine if Yi Qinghan said them, but if others said them, it would easily cause problems. Yen Yunbei's fingers trembled. This was the first time he had heard of this name. However, Yi Qinghan was only 3 years old, so he couldn't help but think about it. He wants to see you. He has an important task for you. Lu Feng said in a deep voice. It's him? Yen Yunbei's eyes flashed as he asked in a deep voice, How can I trust you? Lu Feng replied confidently, Although the 300 people from the Crazy Manor have been replaced in the army, it's still easy for me to find them. If I mobilize the army, you won't be able to escape. Do I need to lure you to another place to kill you? Yen Yunbei didn't expect that the representative chosen by the immemorial Yin Yang would be one of Yi Qinghan's men. Indeed, even the strongest person could make the wrong decision. I don't like the Forbidden Era, Lu Feng said in a low voice. That's right. In this era, other than Yen Yu and the immemorial Yin Yang, no one else liked it. Unless Yi Qinghan was found or the end of the 10 tribulations and 10 lifetimes, the Forbidden Era wouldn't be lifted. This Forbidden Era was prepared for Yi Qinghan. Lu Feng watched Yen Yunbei put away his dagger and said, Recommend someone to be the Domain Lord. It's best if he's smart. Don't leave any traces behind, just like that idiot Yun Yen. Yen Yunbei took a deep breath and said in a low voice, Let Yun Yang be in charge. He's the son of the Crazy Manor's commander, Yun Rui. He has the demeanor of a general and is cautious. He can take on a big responsibility. Swoosh. Lu Feng's silhouette flashed as he arrived at the Domain Army. When the Crazy Manor's people were integrated into the Domain Army, they were all under his control. There were more than 300 people from the Crazy Manor that were integrated into the Domain Army. There was also a group of people that Yen Yunbei had saved previously. There were at least 1,000 people in total, all of them experts. Yun Yen had arranged the 1,000 people into a 10,000-man army to distinguish the Crazy Manor's people from the real Domain Army. Yun Yang was the captain. Lu Feng came to the 10,000-man army and said to Yun Yang, From today onwards, Yun Yang is the Domain Lord of this domain. The domain name is Yun Yang Domain. The army was in an uproar. Yun Yang had ascended to the heavens in a single bound. Yun Yang was stunned as well. He bowed and said, Thank you, sir, for your guidance. The Domain Army's commander is appointed by you. Be careful and work well for me. There will be benefits for you, Lu Feng said coldly. Yun Yang was overjoyed. Lu Feng was giving the Crazy Manor a chance to live. Thank you, sir. Yun Yang bowed. The 1,000 people of the Crazy Manor were excited, but they did not dare to show it. How could Lu Feng not know what the people of the Manor of Madness were thinking? The reason he had done so was to let Yi Qinghan gather all of them here. If Archean Yin Yang won in the end, they would be wiped out in one fell swoop. Lu Feng could be said to be intentionally casting a long line to catch a big fish. Smart people always like to be prepared for both sides, knowing when to advance or retreat. Swoosh. Lu Feng turned and left, returning to his residence. He left with Yen Yunbei and sent messages to the Crimson Divine region through the teleportation tablet. At this moment, the 3-year-old child's eyes were wide open because there were more than a dozen 7- or 8-year-old children in the side yard. The dozen of them glared at each other. Who let you in? Flowing Light Snowy asked angrily. However, his aura was restrained, so his adorable face could not intimidate the 7- or 8-year-old children. Those older children seemed to have been guided by someone, and they all gathered around, constantly pinching Flowing Light's snow-white, tender, and chubby face. Oh, this little brat is occupying the best place in the academy. Let's see what you have. A few of the older children grabbed Flowing Light Snowy's hair and pulled him out. With Flowing Light Snowy's strength, it was easy for him to kill a dozen children. However, there were at least 3 divine senses watching from outside the side yard. He did not dare to go on a rampage and kill them. A 3-year-old child's abnormal strength would definitely attract the attention of others. "Let me go!" Flowing Light Snowy pretended to be angry. Without using his divine power, he used the strength that a 3-year-old child should have. He almost broke free a few times, but there were too many of them and they lifted him up. Just like that, the dozen or so children carried Flowing Light Snowy to the martial cultivation field. There were even more young boys and girls standing there, all of them looking at Flowing Light Snowy with ridicule. At this moment, Yi Qinghan understood that the academy's teachers were checking his identity, and the academy's students also wanted to teach him a lesson. Perhaps this was because of their pride. Even they could not stay in a room, so why should a 3-year-old child stay in it? Strip him naked. "I want to see what he has to stay in the best side yard," a youth said arrogantly. This person was the son of the Crimson Divine Region's domain master. This domain master's status was not as high as Lu Feng's, but he could directly meet with the immemorial Yin-Yang masters. Lu Feng could not control his life or death, so this realmling was not afraid that Flowing Light Snowy was one of Lu Feng's people. Chapter 2904. The little guy was making a ruckus. It was obvious that he was under the guidance of the teachers, especially those who were directly under the ancient Yin-Yang ancestor. They would definitely suspect Flowing Light Snowy's identity. If they could prove that there was something wrong with Flowing Light Snowy's identity, then Lu Feng's position would be in danger. Making things difficult for Flowing Light Snowy was secondary. Taking down Lu Feng was the most important. Therefore, Flowing Light Snowy was enduring it. He secretly used his power to shake off one of the people and maintain a certain distance from the other kids. "I am Flowing Light Snowy, Flowing Light Manor's young master. My father is the person who is personally responsible for Lord Lu Feng. He is loyal to the ancient Yin-Yang ancestor and has made great contributions. You dare to insult this young master? Who gave you the guts?" Flowing Light Snowy was young, but his words were like pearls, intimidating this group of kids. At this moment, Flowing Light Snowy could clearly sense that there were 3 experts staring at the training field. They were testing him. Flowing Light Snowy retreated slightly. His movement technique was Flowing Light Shadow. It was the Flowing Light family's best movement technique. It was considered a high-level item. It was normal for him to shake off a few kids, but it was abnormal for a 3-year-old kid. In the dark, the 3 experts were in their 4th state. They stood in a different space and looked down at the training field. This Flowing Light Snowy is obviously different from a normal kid. Why is Lu Feng so sure that he has nothing to do with that person? One of the elders frowned. Another thin and short elder frowned as he stared at Flowing Light Snowy. His movement technique was very pure. It was obviously different from a 3 or 4-year-old kid. Flowing Light Snowy entered the school 4 months ago. Lu Feng said that he was 4 years old when he brought him here. Let's assume that he is 5 years old now. But this movement technique of Flowing Light Shadow, without dozens of years of practice, it would be impossible for him to be so proficient. The thin and short elder said in a deep voice. Maybe he is really gifted? The last person was not sure. Although Flowing Light Snowy was a little abnormal, but if he was really a person who had gone through 10 tribulations and 10 lifetimes, then he should not be like this. Everything depended on a disguise. If Yi Qinghan wanted to practice against the heavens in the school, then he had to live under the identity of Flowing Light Snowy. He could not be careless. Being bullied this time was actually what Yi Qinghan wanted. At least he could show off a little so that the others would not be so suspicious. Gifted? Isn't that a little too much? The first elder said disdainfully. Whoosh! Whoosh! A figure appeared in the alternate dimension and looked at the 3 of them coldly. He said, "If you can reach a certain height by relying on hard work, then what's the point of having geniuses? The fact that the supreme Yin-Yang ancestor has stepped into the ancestor realm is enough to prove his talent. Even after countless years, it's impossible for us to reach the ancestor realm. Could it be that you're doubting the talent of the great Yin-Yang ancestor?" Lu Qingyun came and stared at the 3 old men unhappily. He was working for Lu Feng, and the 3 of them doubting Lu Guang and Xuehan was the same as doubting Lu Feng. Naturally, he was unhappy. "Fellow Lu, don't be angry," The leading white-robed old man immediately cupped his fists and said, "We were only testing Flowing Light Snow Han's talent." Lu Qingyun snorted coldly. "You guys aren't testing his aptitude. Instead, you're trying to find a flaw and overthrow my family's second-generation ancestor, Lord Lu Feng. You can't talk nonsense. Fellow Lu, when did we want to overthrow Lord Lu Feng?" The short and skinny old man immediately defended himself. Lu Qingyun looked at the three people's expressions and said firmly, "My family's ancestor is loyal to the great Yin Yang ancestor. If that person appears, he will bring him back to the great Yin Yang ancestor without you saying anything. Since you guys are doubting my ancestor's intentions, I will report it to the great Yin Yang ancestor when he returns. He will bring flowing light snow and you guys to confront the great Yin Yang ancestor. However, if you delay the great Yin Yang ancestor's time, you guys will have to bear the responsibility." The three people's expressions changed again. The immemorial Yin Yang ancestor was so busy looking for the Yen Emperor's true body that he didn't even have time to rest. Whoever dared to bother him with such trivial matters would definitely die. "Fellow Lu, you've misunderstood. Don't delay the great Yin Yang ancestor's time. Furthermore, Lord Lu is also very busy. In order to hunt down the experts of the crazed mansion and find that person, he has killed countless people. How can we doubt his decision? If Lord Lu thinks there's no problem with flowing light snow, then there's definitely no problem." The short and skinny old man immediately replied with certainty. "Yes, yes, yes," the other two old men immediately said. Within the school, after dealing with these three people, the identity of flowing light snow and snow would be confirmed. No one would suspect him. The three of them wanted to trick flowing light snow and snow, but they didn't expect to shoot themselves in the foot. Whoosh! Whoosh! That at this moment, a spiritual consciousness distorted the void and crushed the four people's position, turning it into a new domain. Lu Feng appeared in front of the four people with his emperor sword. The sinister and murderous intent in his eyes was self-evident. "Even the great Yin Yang ancestor wouldn't doubt my loyalty. How dare you guys act so recklessly? I'm out fighting and killing, and you guys are here teaching some useful talents. How dare you scheme against each other? Do you think that I won't dare to kill you? If I report what happened today, will the great Yin Yang ancestor give me the right to control your life and death?" Lu Feng said coldly. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Although the three old men were strong, they weren't strong enough to be compared to Lu Feng. If Lu Feng really wanted to kill them, it would be very simple. The immemorial Yin Yang ancestor wouldn't punish him. Lu Feng gently touched the scabbard and said coldly, "If the three of you want to prove Flowing Light Snow's identity, I can bring you to the heaven region right now and find the great Yin Yang ancestor's clone to verify." Plop. The three of them immediately knelt on the ground and begged, "My lord, we didn't mean it. After all, this child is only 4 or 5 years old. There was only a year or so between the last time the emotionless Tao fluctuated. Therefore, it was inevitable that we would be cautious. However, from the looks of it now, Flowing Light Snow is indeed gifted. However, he is definitely not that person. Please forgive us." Killing intent flashed in Lu Feng's eyes. He felt that if he left these three old men in the Red God Region Academy, Yiqing Han would never be safe. However, these three were directly in charge of the immemorial Yin Yang ancestor. If he killed them directly, it would inevitably attract the attention of the immemorial Yin Yang ancestor. "I am very busy. If the three of you are bored, follow me on a mission. I will show you what the ancient massacre god and the conquering heaven camp are. The three of you will personally go to the battlefield." Lu Feng scolded coldly. The moment he mentioned going to the battlefield, the three of them were even more frightened. How strong was the crazy manner? There were definitely many soldiers in the conquering heaven camp that could kill the three of them. Moreover, there were also the assassin army, the ancient massacre god, and the inner sect experts. If the three of them went to the battlefield, there was a 90% chance that they would die. Chapter 2905. After this incident, the three old fellows finally stopped. Lu Feng's return was just in time to intimidate them. The Scarlet God Region Academy quieted down. Many students were so frightened by Lu Feng's gaze that they lost control of their bowels. No one dared to say another word. Many young people fainted on the spot. Lu Feng was more frightening than immemorial Yin Yang and Yen Yu in the 108 regions because he and the ancient heavenly emperor had the power to decide the life and death of all living things. That night, the entire Scarlet God region could feel Lu Feng's killing intent. Everyone was terrified. In the end, Lu Feng even publicly reprimanded Flowing Light Shui Han for being cowardly, allowing others to humiliate him as if he was the pride and glory of the Flowing Light Hall. This made others feel that he was not special at all, and when it was time to scold him, no one could escape. At that moment, Lu Guang Shui Han was extremely scared after being scolded. His whole body was trembling. The three old fellows saw this and felt that a 4 or 5-year-old child should be acting like this. If that person returned after 10 tribulations, Lu Feng would not have the chance to shout. After the farce ended, Lu Guang Shui Han returned to his courtyard alone. The others did not dare to look at Lu Feng anymore. They all hid like turtles. In the middle of the night, Yan Yunbei and Lu Feng appeared in Lu Guang Shui Han's courtyard at the same time. The two looked at Lu Guang Shui Han, who was almost 4 years old. One was respectful and the other was excited. Yan Yunbei could not be more familiar with that gaze. "You're finally back. However, your appearance is a little funny," Yan Yunbei said bluntly. Lu Guang Shui Han grinned and stretched. He could only relax when he was with the people of the crazy manor. He did not need to care about his so-called face. "It's not funny at all. If I was a little older, I would have attracted the attention of immemorial Yin Yang and Yen Yu," Lu Guang Shui Han said crisply. Yan Yunbei looked at Yi Qinghan and sighed softly. The crazy manor is not having a good time now. There are too many casualties. The ancient heavenly emperor is a son of a bitch. He killed the survivors of the crazy manor on sight and tortured them to death. Lu Guang Shui Han's eyes flashed fiercely when he mentioned the current situation of the crazy manor. The next step is to kill the ancient heavenly monarch and support a new representative. Then, we will lure the primordial Yin Yang clone out of the Qiu Heaven realm. "I want to see what the Qiu Heaven realm is hiding," Flowing Light Shui Han said in a low voice. Killing the ancient heavenly emperor wasn't an easy task. After all, he wasn't an ordinary emperor, but a half-martial ancestor. Now that he had gained Yen Yu's trust, killing the ancient heavenly emperor would cost him a large number of elites of the Kuang manor. If he wanted to push another person up, he would have to use bait. Lu Guangshui's eyes flashed coldly. He didn't want to die alone. Everyone in Kuang manor was made of flesh and blood. It wasn't in his character to let them die. "Lu Feng, do you have a plan?" Flowing Light Snow stared at Lu Feng and asked in a low voice. Lu Feng pondered for a long time. The chances of killing the ancient heavenly emperor were slim. Yen Yu did not have many people he could trust, and the ancient heavenly emperor was one of them. He would not allow anyone to kill the ancient heavenly emperor. Besides, other than Yi Qinghan, no one could kill the ancient heavenly emperor, not even Yen Yu. Killing him is very difficult. Lu Feng shook his head and said in a low voice. Flowing Light Snow's eyes flashed coldly. "Since it's so difficult, I'll do it myself and push the blame onto someone else." At this moment, Lu Feng and Yan Yunbei were shocked. They quickly stopped him. "No. It's too risky. There's no need to expose yourself in order to kill him. Once you expose yourself, immemorial Yin Yang and Yen Yu will definitely send out clones to deal with you. At that time, the 108 domains will seal you even more severely, and the Kuang manor will be implicated." The two of them were thinking in the same direction. Whether Yi Qinghan succeeded or failed, the final outcome would not change. Flowing Light Snow shook his head and said calmly, "My current strength has completely surpassed the 5 elements. If not for my physical body, I don't need to be afraid of any of them. It won't be too difficult for me to kill the ancient heavenly emperor. When the time comes, I'll clear my name. You guys go and find Jing Tianju for me. He's very useful." Jing Tianju had been missing for a long time. Ever since he left, he had not appeared again. His strength was already on par with the Taiga Emperor, and immemorial Yin Yang owed him. Even if Jing Tianju killed the ancient heavenly emperor, Immemorial Yin Yang would protect him if Yen Yu wanted revenge. Leave him to me, Lu Feng said in a low voice. Flowing light snow looked at Lu Feng and said calmly, Lu Feng, if you treat me with sincerity, you'll be the one to call the shots in the ancient immortal world. Of course, you have to treat your people well, but I don't like it when you're prepared for both sides. Lu Feng took a deep breath and said firmly, Don't worry, Snow Han. From today onwards, I won't leave any way out for myself. I'll live and die with you. Lu Guangshuihan nodded and said, Lu Feng, you will be in charge of intelligence. Tell Brother Yen to gather all the members of the Crazy Manor in your region and place them in the army. Clear out 2 regions and hand them over to the Crazy Manor. This is the Forbidden Era. I don't want any more deaths in the Crazy Manor. The 2 replied at the same time. Go and get busy. After you're done, Brother Yen will send a few people to lure the ancient heavenly emperor to a remote region. I'll kill him. Flowing Light Snow said firmly. At this moment, Flowing Light Snow had sentenced the ancient heavenly emperor to death. He wouldn't be able to live past this era. The 2 of them retreated. Lu Feng chose a more remote area that was rich in resources. This was the territory of the Abyss Emperor and the domain of the Primordial Divine Will Sovereign. Now, they were called the Abyss Region and Goddess Region. These 2 regions had become the residents of Kuang Manor. Yen Yunbei ordered all the members of Crazy Manor to change their names and join the domain army. The assassin army split up and rushed to the various regions, notifying the main forces of Crazy Manor to gather in the 2 regions. 3 years later, all the members of Crazy Manor who were active outside disappeared. They left through the teleportation stele and kept changing regions. In the end, they disappeared completely when they got close to Yuan Region and Goddess Region. The western region of the ancient immortal world was under the control of the ancient heavenly emperor. However, there were some secret helpers in the western region. Gu Jiutian was one of them. She had been hiding. On the surface, she expressed her understanding of the ancient heavenly emperor, but in reality, she had been helping the experts of Crazy Manor evacuate. The ancient heavenly emperor saw this, but to prevent his only daughter from losing contact with him, he could only turn a blind eye. It was because of Gu Jiutian's secret help that Crazy Manor was able to evacuate so easily. In the Crimson Divine region, Flowing Light Snow was now 7 years old. Her breakthrough made all the students and teachers shudder. In 3 years, she had gone from the lowest level of mortals to the high level of mystic immortal. This wasn't the speed of a human's cultivation. A heaven-bestowed child was only Esu. On this day, Yen Yunbei and Lu Feng came. However, they brought back someone whom Flowing Light Snow didn't expect. Emperor Yi had returned. Emperor Yi looked at the 7-year-old Flowing Light Snow with a strange expression. His holy face revealed a trace of wretchedness. Chapter 2906. Emperor Ye's strange gaze made Flowing Light Snowy Han roll her eyes. What are you thinking about? Flowing Light Snowy Han scolded. Emperor Yi grinned and rubbed his hands. Hee hee, I stole your first time in my previous life. This time, it's still mine. Little Snowy Han, just give in to me. Just as Flowing Light Snowy was about to stand up from her chair, Emperor Yi pounced on her and hugged her. Emperor Yi fiercely slapped her but twice. Emperor Yi said proudly, Dee, your skin is so soft and tender now. You look much better than the rough man from before. Lu Guangshuihan actually looked a lot like Yi Qinghan from his previous life. His appearance was almost a carbon copy of Yi Qinghan. However, very few people had seen him in person, so no one could recognize him. If the ancient God Emperor were here, he would definitely recognize him. Now, he was already 8 or 9 years old. He was much taller and stronger than before. However, he was being ravaged by Renhuang Yi in his arms. He was pitiful. Flowing Light Snowy Han smiled bitterly and let Emperor Yi do whatever he wanted. She pushed him away and said seriously, How many people have gathered in the first and second generations? Have my spirit pets returned? Emperor Yi immediately calmed down and replied seriously, Only Big Brother Yen and I have appeared in the first generation. No one from the second generation has appeared for the time being. The third generation, Lin Mo and Yi Tong, have been hiding in the immortal world's original location, but they have yet to appear. The others should have gone far away to the border and are sleeping in the desolate ancient border universe. They will only wake up when they are officially summoned. About 2 million people from the Heavenly Expedition camp have returned, and about 700,000 to 800,000 people were sacrificed. There is still a group that is hiding very well, and we have yet to find them. About 80% of the inner sect has returned, and there are still a few thousand people who are missing. The ancient Heavenly Emperor was killed by the ancient Heavenly Emperor. Yen Yunbei stepped forward and said, "The assassin army has lost about 100 people, and there are about 700 to 800 people left. These were all elites, the foundation of the crazy manor." The killing intent in Flowing Light Snowy's eyes grew thicker. "Oh right, the territory of the ancient Heavenly Emperor is now called the Beast Region. Recently, 2 powerful ancient creatures have appeared and claimed the territory as their kings. They call themselves the Beast Gods, and even the current region lord has been chased out. The ancient Heavenly Emperor has failed several times. The Beast Region is a mountainous region, and the laws of the ancient immortal world are too powerful. If the 2 Beast Gods hide, it will be very difficult to find them. I suspect that they might be your spirit pets." Emperor Yi immediately reminded. The Beast God region was located at the border. Moreover, it was where the strength of the 2 progenitors was divided. It was a place that no one could interfere with. Moreover, it was an ancient vicious beast. After several failed attempts to encircle and annihilate it, the ancient Heavenly Emperor couldn't be bothered with it anymore and directly gave up on it. Flowing Light Snowy's eyes flashed. Logically speaking, primordial creatures shouldn't be so intelligent. They know to retreat when the enemy advances and harass when the enemy retreats. This kind of wretched fighting style is a bit like Sovereign Yi and Elegance Leaf style. After a long while, Flowing Light Snowy stood up and said in a low voice, "I'm going to the Beast Region. We'll talk about other things later. Lu Feng, help me apply for leave. Tell them that I'm returning to Light Manor." Lu Feng immediately nodded. "No problem." Whoosh. Flowing Light Snowy's current cultivation was stronger than a half progenitor's, but his physical body hadn't reached that level. However, even if he wanted to leave, the progenitors might not be able to detect him. In the alternate dimension, Flowing Light Snowy held the Flowing Light Sword and constantly changed his position as he rushed toward the Beast Region. The Beast Region was now filled with countless powerful beasts. When the strong arrived, they would return to silence. When the weak arrived, they would devour the sky and eat the flesh of the weak. 2 primordial beasts, a bird and a beast, could actually coexist peacefully. The Black Flood Dragon was dozens of feet long and the Scarlet Divine Eagle's wings covered the sky. They separately defended the sky and the mountain range. Countless vicious creatures were enslaved by the 2 of them. They dug out a deep and rugged passage that led to an unknown place. It was like an enormous underground maze. If Yi Qinghan were here, he would realize that the Black Flood Dragon and Red Eagle were the colorful Snake Elegance Leaf and the God-devouring Eagle. However, if one looked closely, one would realize that there was a small white parrot lying on the back of the God-devouring Eagle. Who else could it be but Sovereign Yi? The 3 of them didn't go far away from the edge of the universe. Instead, they stayed in the ancient immortal world and turned into ordinary beasts. Normal people wouldn't bother with beasts, especially experts. However, the weak wouldn't be able to defeat Elegance Leaf. Under the command of the divine bird Sovereign Yi, the God-devouring Eagle and Elegance Leaf managed to avoid many calamities. They even killed all the experts in the Beast Region and took over this place. Moreover, there were tens of thousands of experts hidden in the maze deep in the mountains. They were all experts of the Crazy House. These experts had sealed themselves. They wouldn't wake up until they were called. Whoosh. Flowing Light and Snowy flew. He didn't use the teleportation steal. After all, he was too obvious a target. After traveling for more than a year, he crossed 3 big regions from the Red Region and entered the Beast Region. Flowing Light and Snowy looked like a big child now. He was wearing a snow-white robe and holding the Flowing Light arrow in his hand. He looked even more like Yi Qinghan. Flowing Light and Snowy didn't expose their aura. Instead, they observed from the dark. The disguised elegance leaf and the god-devouring eagle couldn't hide from his eyes. Especially Sovereign Yi. At this moment, Sovereign Yi woke up slowly. He stretched his body and transformed into a human. His big, shifty eyes looked around. That wretchedness wouldn't change even after 100 million years. If that grandson of the ancient heavenly emperor doesn't come, I'll be bored. Sovereign Yi sighed. The god-devouring eagle spread its wings and dove down. It landed in a valley and transformed into a calm, middle-aged man. He said in a muffled voice, "He's here, and you're running around like a stray dog. What are you yelling about? If he doesn't come to disturb us, we can secretly search for the experts of the crazy house." Sovereign Yi rolled his eyes and retorted, "You useless guy. This isn't called a stray dog. This is called a strategic shift." What is strategic shift? It's when you're at a disadvantage. You fight and retreat while developing your own strength. Retreating doesn't mean that I'm afraid of him. I'm just looking for an opportunity to hurt him. A figure appeared in the valley. The afterimage kept solidifying. It was Flowing Light and Snowy. Flowing Light and Snowy stared at Sovereign Yi and the god-devouring eagle with a smile. The god-devouring eagle was stunned. He felt that the person in front of him was very familiar. However, Sovereign Yi had grown up with Yi Qinghan. How could he not recognize him? How did you become younger than me? Sovereign Yi pounced and pushed Flowing Light and Snowy to the ground. He slapped him, but he didn't hit Flowing Light and Snowy's face. Instead, Flowing Light and Snowy's small hand slapped his own face. Sovereign Yi was stunned by this slap. He couldn't help but curse, "You son of a bitch. I can't beat you even if I live another life." Flowing Light and Snowy smiled and pushed Sovereign Yi to the ground. He said indifferently, "Call me Flowing Light and Snowy from now on. Don't mention that name again." The god-devouring eagle wouldn't be as rude as Yi Qinghan. At this moment, he immediately bowed and said, "Boss, welcome back." Sovereign Yi curled his lips and lay on the ground. He sighed and said, "It wasn't easy to be the boss for thousands of years. Now, I have to retreat to the second line. I'm drunk." Chapter 2907. The god-devouring eagle gave a very pertinent reply to Sovereign Yi's lament. "You're definitely going to be number 2 forever." Yi Qinghan smiled faintly and said, "Let's cut the crap. I heard that you fought with the ancient heavenly emperor for a few rounds. This time, I need you to take action and lure him here." "But I've wanted to piss on that old bastard for a long time." Sovereign Yi immediately became spirited and sat up from the grass. Yi Qinghan said faintly, "Let's wait for a few more people to appear." "Who are we waiting for?" Sovereign Yi asked, puzzled. Yi Qinghan said mysteriously, "You'll know when we get there." At this moment, Lu Feng was searching for the heavenly jade all over the world. This person had disappeared before the battle, while Yan Yunbei was looking for Chu Shixian. Lu Feng was using Xuanquang Manor's name to mobilize a large number of domain lords and domain armies to search for the heavenly jade. In order to find the heavenly jade, Lu Feng was even more focused than Xuanquang Manor's people because the heavenly jade was a key factor. This person was very strong and had a strong desire for revenge. Most importantly, he was impatient, brainless, and loved to achieve greatness. Lu Feng had been searching for the heavenly jade ever since Yi Qinghan left the Crimson Divine region. It had been more than 3 years, but he still hadn't found it. "Release the news that Chu Jun isn't dead and has appeared," Lu Feng said gloomily. The heavenly jade hated Chu Jun to the core. If it knew that Chu Jun was still alive, it would definitely appear to search for him. As expected, the heavenly jade appeared half a year after the news was released. Just a while before the heavenly jade appeared, Yan Yunbei used the Assassin Legion to follow Chu Shixian's territory and finally found the node between Emperor Liang's inner world and the ancient immortal world. Back then, Emperor Liang knew that he was going to die. He had already left a way out for Chu Shi's lineage. He hid all of Chu Shi's lineage in his inner world and gave up control of his inner world to Chu Shi Junxian. Chu Shixian had changed a lot now. The corners of his eyes were somewhat sinister, no longer looking like the elegant scholar of the past. What's new was Chu Jun's eyes, but no one knew what was going on. Yan Yunbei entered Emperor Liang's inner world alone. Chu Shixian was very strong, unimaginably strong. There were 3 Taigu emperors hidden in Emperor Liang's inner world alone. Chu Shixian's lineage of Emperor Liang. Chu Shixian's lineage was very strong. 3. Yan Yunbei quietly shuttled back and forth in Chu Shiliang's world. He was as fast as lightning, and no expert noticed him. The ancestral ground of Chu Shi's lineage was located in the center of the world, and experts were as common as clouds. All of a sudden, the world's order was distorted, forming a huge realm of order, directly sealing Yan Yunbei in a piece of spacetime. Chu Shijun was the master of this world. Just like the wild martial great world, it was impossible for Yi Qinghan to not know that a powerhouse had entered. What? Chu Shixian appeared. He looked coldly at Yan Yunbei and asked, "How did you find this place?" "Senior brother Chu, long time no see." Yan Yunbei stood on the ground and said calmly. Chu Shixian continued to ask, "Let me ask you, how did you find this place?" This was the last resting place of Chu Shixian's lineage. If an outsider found this place, he would be furious and filled with killing intent. Yan Yunbei said calmly, "I spent 3 years and mobilized thousands of Assassin Legion experts to search Chu Shixian's ancestral land. Coincidentally, I found this place." "You're courting death. You actually came to this emperor's inner world." Chu Shixian held Emperor Liang's sword and said coldly. Yan Yunbei looked at Chu Shixian vigilantly. He found that he wasn't a pure Chu Shixian. Chu Jun's aura made him feel that the two of them were the same person. That killing intent wasn't faked. "Let's not talk about whether you can kill me or not. Even if you can, the Assassin Legion knows my location. Yi has returned. He will find this place." Yan Yunbei reminded. Chu Shixian's eyes flashed. He sucked in a breath of cold air and said hoarsely, "You broke through the 10 tribulations and returned?" "Yes, he returned. He wants to ask for your help. Disguise yourself as Chu Jun and lure the heaven-shocking Jade out. When the time comes, lure him to kill the half-crippled ancient heavenly emperor." Yan Yunbei said. Killing the ancient heavenly emperor was a dangerous mission. However, when the heaven-shocking Jade was mentioned, Chu Shixian's killing intent seemed to thicken. Yan Yunbei seemed to have sensed something. He gripped his dagger and said softly, "Did Chu Jun devour Chu Shixian's soul and successfully possess his body? Or did Chu Shixian devour Chu Jun's soul? Why can't it be the same person? The soul was torn apart and then reassembled?" Chu Shixian raised a sinister smile and asked faintly. This time, it was Yan Yunbei's turn to be shocked. Chu Jun really didn't die. There was no need for him to disguise himself. Chu Shixian and Chu Jun's 2 lifetimes merged into one. Their cultivation seemed to have increased. They were actually close to the half-martial ancestor realm. Chu Shixian's seniority is clearly a generation younger than Chu Jun. Yan Yunbei asked in shock. "Ha, idiot. How can such a trick the crazy mansion assassin Dao Legion commander Yan Yunbei?" Chu Shixian sneered in disdain. "Back then, my father divined that I would face a tribulation. He split a part of my soul and reincarnated into another person in this world. Unless both Chu Jun and Chu Shixian died, I wouldn't die. Back then, Yi Qinghan defeated me but didn't truly kill me. I managed to find my fleshly body in advance. My soul and fleshly body merged into one and their origins were connected. This allowed my combat strength to increase by several folds. I almost reached the half-martial ancestor realm. Furthermore, I possess my father's internal world. In this domain, even if Yi Qinghan came, I wouldn't fear him." Yan Yunbei gripped his dagger and silently looked at Chu Shixian. The current Chu Shixian was no longer the same as the Chu Shixian of the past. He was too dangerous. "Could it be that you want to hide for the rest of your life? I was able to find you. After immemorial Yin Yang and Yen Yu dealt with Yi Qinghan and Senior Yan Emperor, they would definitely deal with Chu Shixian's lineage. Why can't we work together and eliminate them first?" Yan Yunbei advised. Chu Shixian slowly approached Yan Yunbei. He seemed to want to eliminate Yen Yunbei in advance to prevent this place from being exposed. Yen Yunbei couldn't even move. This was a domain. If they were outside Liang Emperor's world, he would have the confidence to kill Chu Shixian. However, he wasn't a match for Chu Shixian here. Emperor Liang sacrificed his life for the sake of justice. Senior brother Chu, could it be that you want to ruin Emperor Liang's reputation? Yen Yunbei shouted angrily. Chu Shixian retorted coldly. He used his entire life's reputation to plot. Who cared about him? What reputation does he have? Yen Yunbei said firmly, you didn't participate in the final battle. You don't care about his reputation, but all the brothers and sisters of Crazy Mansion do. Lord Yen Emperor also saw him sacrificing his life for the sake of the common people. Could it be that you want to destroy the plot that Emperor Liang used his entire life? Chapter 2908. Whether it was Chu Jun's soul or Chu Shixian's soul, whether it was good or evil, they all respected Emperor Liang. They were unwilling to destroy Emperor Liang's life's work. Chu Shixian stopped and waved his hand to disperse the domain. Yen Yunbei regained his freedom. He didn't feel safe in Emperor Liang's world. At this moment, he exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and cupped his fists. Senior Martial Brother Chu, we have the same goal as Emperor Liang. Yi Zi is also in awe of everything Emperor Liang has done. I believe that Senior Martial Brother Yen can understand his painstaking efforts. Master Chu's lineage has only shown us kindness. We will never betray Master Chu's lineage. Senior Brother Chu, please don't worry. What benefits do I get from helping you? Chu Shixian asked coldly. Yen Yunbei shook his head and replied, sorry, you can talk to Yi Zi about this. I have no right to promise you anything. Asterisk who? Asterisk Chu Shixian indeed cared about Emperor Liang's life's work. After all, Emperor Liang was his ancestor. Not only did he give up his life for this plan, he also gave up 2 generations of hard work. Emperor Liang was unable to understand the self-blame in his heart. Let's go. Chu Shixian held Emperor Liang's sword and soared into the sky. He brought Yen Yunbei with him and left Emperor Liang's world. At this moment, Lu Feng also found Jing Tianju. When the two met, they went straight to the point. Chu Jun is still alive. Lu Feng said indifferently. Jing Tianju's eyes were filled with rage. Killing intent shot out as he said coldly, how can you prove it? Lu Feng smiled sinisterly, do you still need proof? This emperor's words are the proof. It's up to you whether you believe me or not. Jing Anju asked coldly, why are you telling me this? Clearly, Jing Tianju did not believe Lu Feng. The two of them did not have much of a relationship. Why should Lu Feng help him? Because I also want to get rid of Chu Shi's lineage and claim credit for Lord Yin Yang ancestor. However, I can't find Chu Shi's lineage. Moreover, Ancestor Chu's land is under the control of the ancient heavenly emperor. I can't do anything about it. Hence, I want to ask for your help. Lu Feng said coldly. How can I help? Jing Tianju's eyes flashed coldly as he asked in a low voice. Kill the ancient celestial emperor, take control of the domain army, and find the remnants of Chu Shi's branch. We'll work together to destroy Chu Shi's branch. You can take revenge and I'll take credit for it. You can also take credit for the Yen ancestor. At that time, the two of us will be second only to one person and will enjoy the prosperity of the world. Isn't that good? Jing Tianju was clearly not interested in claiming credit, but he was extremely interested in killing Chu Jun. I understand. Jing Tianju clearly didn't want to be fooled by Lu Feng. He thought to himself, there's no need for me to kill the ancient heavenly emperor. Moreover, the ancient heavenly emperor is clearly not someone I can kill. I can work with him. Clearly, Jing Tianju was not a fool. He did not want to provoke trouble. He did not have any enmity with the ancient heavenly emperor, so why would he risk offending the flame ancestor? However, Lu Feng thought that Jing Tianju would agree to his request without hesitation for the sake of revenge. Who would have thought that Jing Tianju's brain would change? Let's go. I'll bring you to meet someone, Lu Feng said indifferently as he extended his hand. Whoosh. Whoosh. Chu Jun and Yen Yunbei were also rushing towards the beast region. Along the way, Yan Yunbei explained the details of the plan. When Chu Jun arrived at the Beast region, the ancient heavenly emperor would also be lured there. When that time came, Chu Jun would submit to the ancient heavenly emperor, causing a conflict between the two. In the end, Yi Qinghan would cooperate with Chu Jun to kill the ancient heavenly emperor and shift the blame onto Jing Tianju. Yi Qinghan would not be exposed, and Jing Tianju would take the blame. Primordial yin-yang might protect Jing Tianju, causing the flame ancestor to be unhappy. The two progenitors would then turn hostile from their cooperation. Of course, this was only the ideal outcome. Everything was based on the most basic theory. Lu Feng didn't dare to be sure that things would go so smoothly. Naturally, Yi Qinghan didn't have the confidence either. However, as long as there was a glimmer of hope, they had to act. Everyone was on the move. Graceful Yi and the God-Eater Eagle had turned into ferocious beasts and attacked two nearby regions, both of which were under the ancient heavenly emperor's control. The ancient celestial emperor was already tired of these two. He had no way of capturing Elegant Yi and the God-Devouring Eagle, nor did he know that they were Yi Qinghan's spirit pets. Otherwise, he would have gone all out to capture them. The ancient heavenly emperor didn't want to deal with the matter of Yi Qinghan and the God-Eater Eagle attacking the slaughter region. He rubbed his forehead with his right hand, feeling a splitting headache. He couldn't find the flame emperor's corpse, nor the core of the insane manor. Now, he was going on a killing spree to ease the fear in his heart. The ancient heavenly emperor wasn't fearless. He was afraid that the flame emperor would be resurrected. He didn't have the face to face Yi Qinghan. He was afraid that the flame emperor would return because his hands were stained with the blood of the insane manor. Although he hadn't killed the first and second generation of the insane manor, he had killed the conquering heaven battalion, the ancient massacre god, the inner and outer sects, and the Assassin Legion. Over the years, not only had he killed, but he had also gathered a bunch of people who had a grudge against Yi Qinghan. Back then, Eternal World's Lu Fengxian, the Deathless Immortal Plains Immortal Emperor Kai Yuan, the Extreme Jiang clan and others. As long as Yi Qinghan had offended them in the past, he had recruited them all. And now, even Luo Wuhan was working for him. Almost no one knew Lu Fengxian. He was the little beggar who had saved Fan Yin in the past. He was extremely jealous, but most importantly, he was very talented. He had accumulated a lot of strength over the years, and his strength was close to the Taigu Emperor's. His desire to kill Yi Qinghan and the insane manor was even stronger than the ancient heavenly emperor's. Lu Fengxian was recommended by the ancient heavenly emperor and was recognized by Yenyu. He had obtained a good heavenly medicine and successfully entered the Taigu Emperor's realm. He had focused on hunting down the experts of the insane manor and killed anyone he saw. There was no one in the region under his control who didn't fear him. As for the Taijiang High Priest, he had refined at least 10,000 godhoods, which included the Order of All Laws. He had become an eternal master god, and his strength was close to the ancient heavenly emperor's. However, he was under the ancient heavenly emperor's control. Immortal Emperor Kai Yuan was called an emperor in the past, but his strength was too weak. He was only at the peak of the fourth form, and he was even weaker than the fourth form experts of the immemorial era. However, to be recognized by the ancient heavenly emperor, it was still possible to get a heavenly medicine. Immortal Emperor Kai Yuan was now the Taigu Emperor, and he hated Yi Qinghan to the bone. The ancient heavenly emperor really wanted to destroy the insane manor, and he had asked for heavenly medicine several times. Yenyu wanted to destroy the insane manor even more, so he wasn't stingy at all. Luo Wuhan was deeply affected by the dim darkness divine general's godhood, and he couldn't change the order of the godhood even if he wanted to. Therefore, he couldn't hide his hatred for the flame emperor and Yi Qinghan. The dim darkness divine general was stabbed to death by the flame emperor, and he didn't even have the chance to resist. The dim python dragons still remembered this clearly, and Luo Wuhan was also looking for the flame emperor's whereabouts. The ancient heavenly emperor had these few chess pieces, so he didn't want to capture Xiao Sa and the god-devouring eagle personally. Lu Fengxian, Taijiang, Luo Wuhan, the three of you are responsible for capturing those two ancient beasts. I want to grind their bones to dust. The ancient heavenly emperor said coldly. If the ancient heavenly emperor didn't come out, Yi Qinghan's plan would fail. Chapter 2909. The three experts led the 2 million soldiers and arrived near the Beast God region using the teleportation steel. In an instant, the mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. However, Yi Xiao Sa and the God-devouring eagle had already escaped, leaving behind a mess. The army rushed towards the Beast God region. At this moment, Yan Yunbei and Chu Shijun appeared in the Beast God region and met with Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan looked at Chu Shijun, who was wearing a mask. It was as if he was looking at Chu Shijun was also looking at Lu Guangshuehan, who looked 12 or 13 years old. Although he was a little immature, he could see Yi Qinghan's shadow in his bones. The two looked at each other. Clearly, both of them were alarmed. Chu Shijun was alarmed that Yi Qinghan had really broken through the 10 tribulations and 10 lifetimes. Furthermore, he had only used 3,000 years. However, Yi Qinghan was alarmed that Chu Shijun was actually Chu Jun, senior brother Chu, long time no see. I'm Lu Guangshuehan now. Lu Guangshuehan said seriously. Chu Shijun took a deep breath. He had Chu Jun's aura in his bones. He didn't have a good impression of Yi Qinghan anymore. However, for the sake of Emperor Liang's plan, he had to suppress the hatred in his heart. Brother Xuehan, long time no see. I'm called Chu Shijun now. Chu Shijun replied hoarsely. Chu Shijun represented two souls. Chu Shijun and Chu Jun. I didn't know Emperor Liang's intentions back then. I hope you can forgive me for offending you. Lu Guangshuehan bowed and cupped his fists. Yi Qinghan wasn't the only one who didn't know about Emperor Liang's plan. If Yen Yu didn't merge with Yen Ao's soul, Yen Yu wouldn't know. Immemorial Yin Yang wouldn't know either. Emperor Liang did the opposite and kept everyone in the dark. The hostility in Chu Shijun's eyes eased a little. Now that he saw Emperor Liang's plan, he understood a lot. He also understood Emperor Liang's intentions. Back then it wasn't just you. I didn't understand my father's intentions too. Chu Shijun represented Chu Jun. Lu Guangshuehan took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, back then, we didn't know. Now that we know, I think we can work together again to complete Emperor Liang's plan. What do you think? What benefits do I have? Chu Shijun asked bluntly. Snowy Han shrugged and replied, what benefits does senior brother Chu want? I will satisfy whatever I can. The chaotic heavenly domain is mine. From the looks of it, he had long set his sights on the chaos celestial domain. His ambitions had been exposed, but he did not care. Flowing light Snowfrost looked at Chu Shijun's determined eyes and pondered for a long time before nodding and saying, if Senior Yen Emperor has no objections, I will not fight for anything in the ancient immortal world. Chu Shijun nodded. The Yen Emperor would not burn the bridge after crossing it. After the two of them reached an agreement, Chu Shijun's eyes were filled with Chu Jun's gaze. Lu Feng didn't expect his casual words to be true. Chu Jun wasn't dead and was still alive. At that moment, Lu Feng and Jing Tianju joined forces and headed to the Beast region. A few days later, they appeared outside the Beast region. Lu Fengxian, Tai Jiang and Luo Wuhan led their armies and arrived at the Beast region at almost the same time. The ancient heavenly emperor did not come. This disappointed Yi Qinghan. However, he found three old friends. Lu Fengxian? Yi Qinghan's memory was somewhat monstrous. This little beggar was actually still alive. He had actually survived the apocalyptic calamity of Eternal World. Interesting. Not only did he survive, he even reached the Taigu Emperor realm. Looks like he has suffered a lot in recent years. However, he also obtained a lot of opportunities. I wonder what senior sister Fan Yin would do if she saw this. After all, Lu Fengxian had saved Fan Yin once. However, Yi Qinghan could tell that this person was a treacherous and vile person who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. He was not a kind person. Yan Yunbei came to Yi Qinghan's side and whispered, this person has been targeting Kuang Manor in recent years. He has made a name for himself in the ancient immortal world. I wanted to assassinate him several times, but he was always by the ancient heavenly emperor's side. I didn't have the chance. I know him. His name is Lu Fengxian. He is from Eternal World. These three Taigu Emperor realm cultivators are actually old friends. The middle-aged man on the left is the Kai Yuan Immortal Emperor. Yi Qinghan said calmly. The other middle-aged man was even more familiar with Yan Yunbei. Moreover, they were master and disciple. Should we take this opportunity to kill him? Yan Yunbei asked. Yi Qinghan pursed his lips and said in a low voice, I promised Luo Wuhan to spare his life 3 times. I saved him once, so there are 2 more times. This time I will let him go. As for the other 2, I will kill them today so that they won't cause trouble for me. Then you don't have to do anything. If you expose yourself, you will lose more than you gain. Yan Yunbei reminded. Yi Qinghan nodded and then disappeared into the rear. What? Yan Yunbei took out his dagger and hid in the void. Chu Shijun's eyes were filled with malice. The Liang Emperor's sword in his hand was unsheathed. His figure flashed and rushed outside. What? Boom. Swoosh. Swoosh. Lu Feng and Jing Tianju appeared in the beast god domain. One was emitting killing intent while the other was hiding his aura. Chu Shijun stared at the two from the dark. When he saw Jing Tianju, his killing intent gradually appeared. He couldn't control his emotions at all. Jing Tianju sensed the killing intent and looked around vigilantly. The army moved quickly. The 3 experts appeared in the void and the aura of the Umbra Divine Spear filled the air. Lu Fengxian's eyes were comparable to Chu Jun's eyes. That kind of gaze was extremely terrifying. No one dared to look at it directly. Today, we'll slaughter the beast god region. Leave nothing behind, not even a blade of grass. Lu Fengxian declared. What? Luo Wuhan waved his hand and mobilized the army. He said in a deep voice, push forward and leave no survivors. Kill. The moment the army moved, tens of thousands of beasts and birds rushed in all directions. The birds were killed the moment they flew up. Boom. Giant beasts were killed one after another. Half a day later, corpses were everywhere and blood flowed like a river. Other than Yi Qinghan, Lu Feng, Jing Tianju, Yan Yunbei, and Chu Jun whoosh. Yi Qinghan silently appeared beside Chu Shixian and whispered, surrender to Lu Fengxian. With Chu Jun's status, he will definitely accept our enmity. Jing Tianju will not care and will definitely attack first. Halfway through, you will be responsible for killing Tai Jiang Immortal Emperor. Brother Yan will be responsible for killing Lu Fengxian. As for Luo Wuhan, let him go this time. What about Jing Tianju? Chu Shixian wanted to kill Jing Tianju even more. Lu Feng will kill Jing Tianju. Today, other than Luo Wuhan, the rest of the army will die here. Yi Qinghan said firmly. What? Wearing a mask, Chu Shixian appeared in the void and looked at Luo Wuhan. I am the previous hall master of Elite Hall, Chu Jun. Greetings, Brother Luo. Chu Shixian's eyes were malicious. His aura directly suppressed Lu Fengxian. That gaze shocked Lu Fengxian. Luo Wuhan was also shocked. He did not expect to see Chu Jun here. Didn't Chu Jun die back then? At this moment, Lu Feng was stunned. Jing Tianju was furious. His killing intent surged. When enemies meet, their eyes turned red. Chapter 29:10. Immemorial Yin-Yang ancestor knew Chu Jun's identity, but the Yin-Yang ancestor wasn't here. Luo Wuhan wasn't under the Yin-Yang ancestor's control, so Luo Wuhan didn't know Chu Jun's true identity, let alone Tai Jiang and Lu Fengxian. Boom! Jing Tianju held a long staff in his hand. He didn't even wait for Luo Wuhan to agree to Chu Jun. He raised his staff and smashed it towards Chu Jun. His imposing manner was like a rainbow, sweeping across the area, including Luo Wuhan and the others. Die! Jing Tianju roared with killing intent. Tai Jiang High Priest understood the grudge between Chu Jun and Jing Tianju, and so did Luo Wuhan. However, Lu Fengxian didn't know about it. He thought that Jing Tianju was attacking them, so he attacked with his sword. Luo Wuhan couldn't stop him in time. Jing Tianju directly clashed with Lu Fengxian. Get lost! Jing Tianju's aura was like a rainbow. After all, he was an emperor's inheritance. He forced Lu Fengxian back with one strike. However, Lu Fengxian only retreated a few steps. His sword aura changed and became extremely sharp. Whoosh! Yan Yunbei appeared out of nowhere. His dagger almost pierced through Taijiang High Priest's back. Puchita Taijiang's High Priest was caught off guard and was covered in snow scars. If Luo Wuhan had not used a sudden thrust to force Yan Yunbei to retreat, Taijiang would have definitely died. Luo Wuhan noticed Yan Yunbei and his eyes flashed coldly. However, he didn't say anything. Yan Yunbei retreated after one strike and disappeared again. Boom boom boom. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. On the other side, Lu Fengxian and Jing Tianju were already fighting. Chu Shixian was standing at the side and had nothing to do. Yunbei, since we are acquaintances, I will guarantee your life if you surrender. Luo Wuhan squinted his eyes and looked at the void. He didn't pay attention to Chu Shixian and said to Yan Yunbei. Yan Yunbei didn't reply. He was waiting for an opportunity. You refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Buzz. Luo Wuhan's underworld divine general shook and dark energies surged in all directions. Dark clouds covered the sky. Chu Jun, why are you here? Luo Wuhan asked coldly. Help you kill people. Chu Jun said coldly, you know best about the grudge between me and the Kuang Manor. Since I've come to find you, what else could it be? Luo Wuhan nodded, and just as he was about to speak, Lu Feng disguised himself as a stranger and wore a mask. With a single sword strike, he pierced through the defenses of the army and charged right into the middle of the army. Arapuchi! Boom! Lu Feng was like a tiger in a flock of sheep. His sword slayed souls, and in the blink of an eye, he had killed over 100,000 people. Taijiang's high priest and Luo Wuhan were enraged. The two of them joined forces to attack Lu Feng. One of them wielded a spear while the other wielded a spear. In the blink of an eye, they had blocked Lu Feng's path. Lu Feng did not dare to reveal his identity, so he purposely suppressed his strength. The shockwaves spread out for hundreds of miles, including the army, causing heavy casualties. Bang! Lu Feng fought 1 against 2, and although he seemed to be in a sorry state, he was actually doing it with ease. The two of them could not see through Lu Feng's identity, so they did not think in that direction. After attacking for a long time without success, the army suffered heavy casualties. In just 2 hours, Lu Feng seemed to be injured, but it was not a big deal. On the other hand, more than 500,000 of the 2 million soldiers had died. Chu Jun, what are you waiting for? Luo Wuhan's spear pierced through the order and forced Lu Feng back as he shouted at Chu Shijungxian. Chu Shijungxian's Liang Emperor sword was hidden in his sleeves, and he was only using his own sword. When he unsheathed his sword aura was several times stronger than Lu Fengxian's. His sword pierced through the clouds and attacked Lu Feng. Lu Feng's strength had already been sealed to 40%, and when he was forced back by Chu Shijungxian's sword, he was forced back dozens of steps and coughed out blood. Taijiang High Priest and Luo Wuhan were overjoyed, and they charged at Lu Feng without any hesitation, wanting to kill him first. On the other side of the battlefield, Yan Yunbei suddenly appeared behind Lu Fengxian, and his dagger pierced through Lu Fengxian's neck. Then, Yan Yunbei's staff swept across his waist, cutting him in half. His roar filled the sky, but even so, he was not completely dead. Bang! Puchi! Yan Yunbei charged again, and his dagger pierced through Lu Feng's Taiyang body. Lu Feng's soul was directly shattered, and he died on the spot. At this moment, Lu Feng was retreating, and he could die at any moment. Taijiang High Priest's attacks were getting stronger and stronger, and he did not even bother to defend. He wanted to kill Lu Feng, but at this moment, Chu Shijungxian's sword aura changed, and it pierced through Taijiang High Priest's divine robe and pierced through his heart. Bang! Taijiang High Priest turned his head to look at Chu Shijungxian in disbelief. Seeing the sinister and murderous look in his eyes, he wanted to say something, but his throat seemed to be blocked. Bang bang bang! Chu Shijun unsheathed the Liang Emperor sword from his immortal sleeve. Holding the sword in his left hand, he pierced through Lu Feng's Taiyang body, and his godhead was almost shattered. Because Taijiang High Priest did not have any defense, he died miserably. Luo Wuhan roared in anger, Chu Jun, you treacherous villain! You're courting death. Bang! Boom! Lu Feng's aura instantly rose by a lot. He sent the Umbra Divine spear flying with a sword strike and kicked Luo Wuhan's chest. Een! The sharp sword was pressed against Luo Wuhan's head. Lu Feng wanted to kill him in an instant, but Yi Qinghan had already said that Luo Wuhan could not die. On the other side, Yan Yunbei, who was killing Lu Fengxian, cut through the void and slashed through Jing Tianju's neck. However, just a second ago, Jing Tianju discovered that Chu Jun had actually killed Taijiang High Priest. In just an instant he subconsciously retreated, and because of this, he managed to escape Yan Yunbei's sure-kill attack. Whoosh! Jing Tianju knew that he was being used, so he turned around and fled. As the Taigo Emperor, if Jing Tianju wanted to escape, unless Yi Qinghan personally took action, or if Lu Feng used his peak strength, no one could stop him. Yi Qinghan stood in the dark without moving. He coldly watched as Jing Tianju fled into the distance, and a cold smile appeared on his face. Boom! Bang! At this moment, a huge tail covered the sky and directly smashed Jing Tianju back. The multicolored snake's huge tail swung towards the sky, and it transformed into a 100-zhang-long flood dragon. Its fangs pierced through mountains and rivers, and shattered order, and directly bit towards Jing Tianju. Een! Whoosh! Yan Yunbei and Chu Shixian attacked from both sides. Tianju immediately roared in anger. Lu Feng, you dare to trick me! Bang! The multicolored snake's desperate attack directly smashed Jing Tianju away, and Yan Yunbei and Chu Shixian arrived at almost the same time. The Liang Emperor sword and the dagger pierced one's heart, and the other's sea of consciousness. Poochie! The two retreated at the same time. The multicolored snake swallowed Jing Tianju into its stomach, and a prince of a generation died tragically on the spot. At this moment, tens of thousands of beasts roared, and the army turned into trapped beasts, frantically fleeing. However, the entire beast god region was surrounded by giant beasts, and they began to crazily devour everything. Yan Yunbei and Chu Shixian joined forces to kill the enemies. The multicolored snake and the god-devouring eagle continued to devour, and even the divine weapons were chewed to pieces. Luo Wuhan's eyes widened, and he stared at Lu Feng. However, he was wearing a mask, so he didn't know who Lu Feng was. He thought that he was the incarnation of Gu Qingyu, Lin Wutian, Mu Zhuang, or someone else. Half a day later, the army was completely annihilated. Not even corpses were left. It was a mess, and flesh and blood flew everywhere, and the mountain range was dyed red. Sovereign Yi walked out with a smug face. He looked at the shocked and angry Luo Wuhan, and said, "With a little trick, you actually killed the ancient heavenly emperor's right-hand man. Not bad, not bad." "Sovereign Yi, it's you." Luo Wuhan recognized Sovereign Yi at a glance. This guy was so cheap that he could recognize his bones even if he peeled off his skin. Sovereign Yi grinned and said, "Of course it's me." This sovereign wanted to use this opportunity to kill that bastard son of the ancient heavenly emperor, but I didn't expect that grandson to not dare to show his face. However, it's not bad to be able to kill so many of him. Chapter 29:11. Supreme Yi stood with his arms crossed and could not stop laughing. In this desperate situation, the dim darkness divine general seemed to have given up. Luo Wuhan sighed and closed his eyes, waiting for death. Supreme Yi laughed. "Young Master Luo, you still owe me some resources. But I'm magnanimous, so I won't ask you for them." Luo Wuhan found it funny when he mentioned what happened in the past. However, he didn't hate Yi Qinghan, much less a little guy. "I'll return it to you in the next life," Luo Wuhan said calmly. "Kill me." Supreme Yi looked at Luo Wuhan's lonely appearance and didn't want to tease him anymore. He said, "Back then, my boss promised you and Gu Jiutian that he would spare your lives 3 times. Although he's no longer here, I'm his little brother, so I have to uphold his promise. This time I'll spare your life. You still have one more chance. Now you can leave now." Luo Wuhan opened his eyes and looked at Supreme Yi. He realized that he wasn't joking. Even the sword on his forehead was removed. "What?" Yan Yunbei appeared beside Luo Wuhan and bowed slightly. "Master Luo, We shouldn't have any grudges. It's just a divine general. If you want to suppress it, you can definitely suppress it. We don't want to be enemies with you. I hope that the next time we meet, we won't be enemies. Luo Wuhan felt guilty. Yi Qinghan saved him once, and the crazy manner spared him this time. No matter how big the favor was, it was time to repay it. Yi Qinghan wasn't here, and the crazy manner was willing to keep their promise. He couldn't be indifferent. What? Luo Wuhan slowly got up. His body was covered in blood, and his face was lonely. He picked up the dim darkness divine spear and said softly, "Thank you. Go back and tell the ancient heavenly emperor that I don't want this beast god domain anymore. Let him come and get it." Supreme Yi grinned. Luo Wuhan smiled bitterly. Only now could he suppress the dim darkness divine generals, divine generals, divine generals, divine general. What a show! 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 Luo Wuhan left. His heart was getting stronger, and it started to suppress the divine general's divine general. Hua! Yi Qinghan appeared in front of everyone. Looking at Luo Wuhan's departing back, he spoke up in a faint voice, "Let's also migrate away." "Wait, boss, there are still tens of thousands of people in this cave. They're all from the crazy manor. Take them all away." Supreme martial artist Yi immediately took credit for it. Yi Qinghan was stunned. He did not expect Sovereign Yi to have tens of thousands of people gathered here. However, if tens of thousands of people wanted to migrate, it would be impossible to hide it. "Boss, don't worry. I've turned all of them into members of the ancient god lineage. Back then, I hid quite a number of divine sparks and used them all on them. Those divine sparks. I used your heaven-defying Tao to modify the order," Supreme Being Yi said wretchedly. Whoosh! The colorful snake transformed into its human form and asked for credit. "Boss, I saved these people. Supreme Venerable Yi hasn't done anything all these years." But, bang bang bang. Supremacy Yi and Elegance Yi started fighting right away. You punched and I slapped, punched and kicked. Instantly, their noses and faces were bruised and swollen. "Fuck! How dare you spout nonsense? Be careful that this beast god doesn't kill you with one slap." Supreme martial artist Yi scolded angrily. In the end, Elegance Yi was much stronger than Supreme martial artist Yi. He was only hit once. However, his right eye was black and round. At this moment, he said domineeringly, "Am I wrong? Brat, boss isn't here, so I gave you some leeway. I don't want the god-devouring eagle to think that I'm bullying the weak. Now that boss is here, we should be on equal footing." Yi Qinghan pushed his hair with his right hand and rolled his eyes. He said speechlessly, "Shut up, you two. Arguing in front of outsiders, isn't it embarrassing? Can you be as steady as the god-devouring eagle?" The god-devouring eagle had always been loyal and steady. At this moment, when it heard Yi Qinghan's praise, it immediately smiled honestly. Lu Feng did not dare to mock Yi Qinghan's two top-grade spirit pets, but Chu Shijun did. At this moment, he sneered. He was very disdainful of such top-grade spirit pets. If he had such a spirit pet, he would rather kill it with a sword. Yan Yunbei was already used to these two's quarrels, so he just shrugged his shoulders. Soon, Supreme Martial Artist Yi calmed down and brought Yi Qinghan into the cave. He found that it was not only the people from the insane manor, but even the little white fox and the little golden crow were there. However, their battle strength was still as bad as before. They were all in a deep sleep like the rest of the insane manor's army, waiting to be summoned. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and set up a contract. He summoned them back into his bloodline and used his bloodline to nourish them. "Return!" Yi Qinghan let out a deep roar. It echoed in the cave and directly blasted into the army's consciousness. What? The army of more than 20,000 people, including the ancient massacre god, the inner sect, outer sect, the heaven-conquering camp, and the assassin army, all woke up. They looked at the current flowing light snowy with a surprised expression. "Mansion Lord? Mansion Lord?" The group of people from the inner sect and outer sect who were drunk with Yi Qinghan, as well as the ancient massacre god, felt that the person in front of them was very familiar. Especially those eyes, they were clearly Yi Qinghan. Flowing light snowy nodded silently. Looking at the people of the insane manor, he felt inexplicably happy. He smiled and said, "From now on, I am Flowing Light Snowy, the young master of the Flowing Light Manor. You are my private army, understand?" What? The army was excited. They all stood up and cupped their fists respectfully. "Yes, young master." The army was full of divine aura. Every one of them had a godhead. It was obvious that they were from the ancient god clan. Even if the ancient heavenly emperor personally came, he would not think that these people were from the insane manor. They were former members of the elite hall. Chu Shijunxian looked at the army coldly and reminded them, "The Immemorial Excellence Hall has a very special army called the First Grade Sovereign Army. It has 120,000 people and is very powerful. After the Immemorial Sovereign War ended, there were only 80,000 people left. To the outside world, I announced that they had sealed themselves and were waiting to be sealed. In truth, I had already killed all of them under my father's orders. You can use this name to name your army, and the Immemorial Yin-Yang army will not notice any problems." Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed. He asked in a deep voice, "What weapons did they use back then?" "Close. The Immemorial Wolf Spear and the Supreme Feather Suit." "What?" Chu Shijun waved his hand and samples of the Immemorial Wolf Spear and the Supreme Feather Suit appeared in front of Yi Qinghan. "Good, the heavens are helping me." Yi Qinghan clapped his hands and laughed. He said excitedly, "I will find Lu Outyan and take control of the First Grade Supreme Army. They will be under Lu Feng's control. This way, the insane manor will be able to hide their identity. I have some resources and materials here. Shuahan, you can refine a batch of Supreme Feather Suit and Immemorial Wolf Spear now. This way, I can bring them to the Crimson Divine region. You can also blend in." Yi Qinghan nodded. With his strength, it was easy for him to refine tens of thousands of immemorial mystical weapons and Supreme Feather Suits. Soon, Lu Feng handed the resources and materials to Yi Qinghan. Using reverse fire to refine the materials, his terrifyingly powerful soul controlled them and refined them at the same time. A few months later, the Immemorial Wolf Spear was completed. Half a year later, the Supreme Feather Suit was completed. There were 30,000 sets. There were about 27,000 people in the insane manor. The remaining 3,000 sets were all given to Lu Feng. The army left the Beast God region. There were only 20,000 people. To the ancient immortal world, it was just a drop in the ocean. No one would notice. The army entered the region controlled by Lu Feng and used the teleportation steel to quickly move. It only took them 3 months to reach the Crimson Divine region. A first-grade supreme army. Who would dare to doubt the former subordinates of first-grade Hall? This was the army that Immemorial Yin-Yang had ordered Chu Jun to establish. At the edge of the universe, experts would occasionally appear. However, they would disappear in a flash and it was hard to catch them. But today, a very unique guest appeared. It was a scarlet flame-horned warhorse with a corpse on its back. It was as fast as lightning and it was hard to catch up. Chapter 29:12. Whoosh! The scarlet flame-horned warhorse was the Flame Emperor's mount during the immemorial era. Although it wasn't an emperor, it was a true Taigu emperor. Flame Emperor was the strongest emperor in the world, so how could his mount be bad? When the Flame Emperor died in battle, Scarlet Flame didn't have time to take his corpse away and could only escape alone. Countless years later, when it returned, it actually found the Flame Emperor's corpse and brought it out of the ancient immortal world to the edge of the universe. There were even more secret agents at the edge of the universe, and they were everywhere. Their goal wasn't to find the Flame Emperor, but to find the experts of the crazy manor. The chaotic heavenly domain had reformed the 12 emperors, and their strength was on par with the Taigu Emperor and the other immemorial gods. They were stationed at the edge of the universe and would support each other at any time. As long as they found the experts of the crazy manor, they wouldn't let them go. Over the past few thousand years, this group of people had killed at least thousands of the second and third generation of the crazy manor, as well as the inner sect experts. These secret agents were everywhere, and they traveled to the edge of the universe from planets to dead stars. Their benefits were very good. As long as they caught a second or third generation descendant of the crazy manor, they would receive a heavenly medicine. If they caught a supreme of the crazy manor's first generation, they would be congratulated and directly become the Taigu Emperor. Moreover, experts would help them refine the stronger heavenly medicine. The scarlet flame-horned warhorse flew from the edge of the universe to a place where there was no one. At the edge of the universe, there were spatial storms, and very few people from the crazy manor would come here. Only the super experts of the first generation would go to the edge. A powerful secret agent was hiding on a dead star, and his eyes were filled with excitement when he saw the scarlet flame-horned warhorse fly past his head. That's the scarlet flame-horned warhorse, the Flame Emperor's mount, and there's a corpse on its back. Ha! This person was an expert in the fourth form of the immemorial elite hall, and he recognized the scarlet flame-horned warhorse at a glance. After all, the Flame Emperor's mount was too famous, so he fell into a state of excitement. This was a joyous occasion, and he actually found the corpse that even the Yin-Yang ancestor was looking for. Whoosh-da-whoosh whoosh whoosh. This secret agent was immersed in ecstasy, and he quickly followed Crimson Flame. However, roughly 3 breaths of time later, Crimson Flame had shaken him off, and he had completely lost track of Crimson Flame. However, it didn't matter, as he now knew the general direction, and he immediately headed towards the Taigu Emperor's headquarters. There were 3 Taigu Emperors and a Space Master God overseeing the headquarters, ready to provide support at any time. Half a day later, this Class 1 Hall elite appeared at the headquarters. Reporting: Flame Emperor's Scarlet Flame Warhorse was found, and there was a corpse on its back. This expert rushed into the main hall of the headquarters. When he saw the 4 Supremes, he immediately knelt down on one knee and said loudly. The 4 experts' eyes flashed coldly, and they immediately stood up. The 4 of them looked at each other, and their eyes were filled with ecstasy. Where is it? When did you discover it? The white-robed middle-aged man asked in a deep voice. Reporting to Lord Emperor Killer, this lowly one discovered it in the sky above Violet Star. I chased after it for a while, but Crimson Flame's speed was too fast, and I lost him. However, I saw him rushing towards the edge. The secret agent was still in ecstasy. This was a great merit, and as long as he reported it, the immemorial Yin-Yang Emperor would definitely reward him handsomely. It was not impossible for him to become a Taigu Emperor, and the strongest Taigu Emperor at that. Emperor Killer, the Space Master God, and the other 3 looked at each other and nodded inwardly, killing intent flashing in their eyes. The Space Master God's divine light flashed, and this 4th state secret agent was directly disintegrated into molecules, not even leaving behind a trace of blood. This secret agent did not even understand how he died, nor did he understand why the Space Master God wanted to kill him. It was because he was too stupid. How could the 4 Taigu Emperors not be greedy for such a merit? Emperor Killer, you and I will scout ahead. Jade Emperor, Wind Emperor, you 2 stay behind and inform Lu Feng to go to the Heaven Domain to inform the immemorial Yin-Yang ancestor to come and help. If we capture Crimson Flame and get the corpse of the Yen Emperor, we will split the merit. How about it? The black-robed Jade Emperor and purple-robed Wind Emperor looked at each other and did not object. The Space Master God and Emperor Killer worked together to tear through the void and rush towards the edge of the universe. The Wind Emperor quickly sent the news to Lu Feng's residence in the ancient immortal world through the Boundary Stone. A few months later, Lu Feng received the news, and his face changed drastically. If the corpse of the Yen Emperor was obtained, no matter how heaven-defying Yi Qinghan was, he would not be able to overturn the hands of 2 ancestors. Lu Feng took the opportunity to rush towards the Flowing Light Hall, because Yi Qinghan was there. In the Flowing Light Hall's young master's courtyard, Yi Qinghan was cultivating bitterly. These years, he had sufficient resources to temper his physical body. His physical body's order was reversed, and there were no laws or principles to speak of. He was completely outside the 5 elements. It was unrealistic for an ancestor to destroy him now, unless 2 ancestors joined forces. Boom. Bang. Lu Feng did not care about etiquette and directly pushed the door open, waking Yi Qinghan up. Yi Qinghan frowned at Lu Feng and asked, "What's wrong?" The Yen Emperor's mount, Crimson Flame, appeared in the deepest part of the universe with the corpse of the Yen Emperor. "It has been discovered. You will lead the 20,000-strong army to the edge of the universe using the teleportation stele as the commander of a Grade 1 Supreme Army. I will stall for time here and try to delay the news by half a year. This way, you will have half a year to find the corpse of the Yen Emperor and hide it." Lu Feng said hurriedly. Half a year. Yi Qinghan's breath stagnated. He did not expect this matter to be so serious. Why would Crimson Flame, who had disappeared for thousands of years, suddenly appear? "Gather the army," Yi Qinghan immediately said. Lu Feng quickly rushed out of the flowing light hall and summoned the ancient massacre gods that Sovereign Yi had nurtured, as well as the people from the inner sect, outer sect, and heaven-conquering camp. 27,000 people, their auras like rainbows, their divine might vast and mighty. "Everyone, follow flowing light snowstorm into the depths of the universe and search for traces of the Crimson Flame warhorse," Lu Feng said solemnly. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan appeared in front of the army with the flowing light sword in his hand. Using the boundary stele of the Scarlet God region, Lu Feng personally opened the coordinates of the edge of the universe and teleported everyone to the depths of the universe. Space flowed and time shattered. It was as if time was reversed. The teleportation stele here was even faster. It was personally set up by the Yin-Yang ancestor. If it was the previous teleportation stele, it would take at least a few dozen years. However, this boundary stele only took slightly more than 10 months to reach the edge of the universe. At this time, Lu Feng purposely chased after Yen Yunbei and delayed for more than a year before returning to the flowing light hall. Lu Feng had to admit that this was a risky move. If the primordial Yin-Yang ancestor knew that he had delayed for more time, even if he had 10 lives, it would not be enough. No one knew where the flowing light hall was, but Lu Feng knew that it was located in the south of the primal chaos heavenly domain. It spanned across a region of chaos and there was no way out. Anyone who entered would die. Report. Lu Feng received a message from the edge of the universe. The traces of the Flame Emperor's warhorse, Crimson Flame, have been found. There is a corpse on the warhorse. Whoosh! A terrifying aura appeared and shrouded Lu Feng. Lu Feng was so frightened that he sweated profusely and did not dare to raise his head. Also, according to a reliable source, Yi Qinghan broke through the 10 tribulations and 10 reincarnations in the ancient immortal world. A spy found traces of him, but it disappeared in a flash. This subordinate does not dare to confirm. Lu Feng purposely released a smokescreen to make the primordial Yin-Yang ancestor hesitate whether to chase after Crimson Flame or stay here to capture Yi Qinghan. Chapter 29:13. Sure enough, it was as Lu Feng had predicted. He wanted to kill both of them, not letting either of them go. He could only choose one out of the two. Immemorial Yin-Yang was still afraid that Yen Yu would let Yen Emperor go. After all, they were father and son. Blood was thicker than water. He was shocked when he saw Yen Yu agree to let Yen Emperor go. He might have known that Yen Yu would do it a second time, but he trusted himself more. What? Immemorial Yin-Yang appeared outside Seeking Heaven region and said coldly, "Do your best to capture Yi Qinghan and the rest of the Kuang Manor. If you can capture Yi Qinghan, this seat can help you reach the ancestor realm in the future." Lu Feng pretended to be overjoyed and kowtowed. "Thank you, Lord Yin-Yang ancestor. Go, this seat will ask Yen Yu to help find Yi Qinghan." Immemorial Yin-Yang's female voice sounded again. It was strange and creepy. Lu Feng did not dare to stay any longer and immediately left. After Lu Feng left Seeking Heaven region, he glanced behind him. He wanted to take advantage of the time when Immemorial Yin-Yang's clone was away to check out Seeking Heaven region. However, he did not have the courage of Yi Qinghan. If he was caught, all of Emperor Yuan's descendants would die. Lu Feng did not dare to take the risk and could not afford to. Whoosh! Lu Feng quickly left Seeking Heaven region. At this moment, it had been almost 2 years since Yi Qinghan left Scarlet God region. However, Immemorial Yin-Yang was still heading north. Yenyu had created a new ancestral region at the back of Primal Chaos Heavenly Region. It was called Seeking Heaven Region and was extremely majestic. The moment immemorial Yin Yang entered Seeking Heaven Ancestral Region, he went straight to the point. According to Lu Feng's reliable news, Yan Emperor and Yi Qinghan have both appeared. Hua! A powerful aura appeared at the edge of Seeking Heaven Ancestral Region. A person wearing a dragon and tiger mask stared at immemorial Yin Yang with sharp eyes. Yenyu might not be afraid of Yi Qinghan, but he was afraid of the Flame Emperor. In order to step into the Ancestor Realm, he had given up not just the Flame Emperor, but the entire Yen clan. He had given up on the Flame Emperor's beliefs and perseverance. If the Flame Emperor were to return, the first one to die might not be the primordial Yin Yang, but Yenyu. Yenyu clenched his fists and asked with a hoarse voice, "Where did the Yen Emperor appear?" "At the edge of the universe. Qi Yen is carrying him. My people are chasing after him, but you and I both know how fast Qi Yen is. He isn't someone the Taigu Emperor can catch up to. So, one of us has to go." Immemorial Yin Yang woman's voice suddenly changed, and she spoke coldly. "We'll all go. We can't give him a chance." Yenyu shouted. Immemorial Yin Yang woman laughed coldly and said with a hoarse voice, "You seem to have forgotten about Yi Qinghan. He has broken through 10 tribulations and 10 lifetimes, so he can't be weaker than the Flame Emperor. He has also appeared in the ancient immortal world. One of us has to stay behind to kill Yi Qinghan. Also, don't forget that the immemorial game has 2 consecutive games to trap them. Yi Qinghan hates us to the core. If we lose this time, not only will we be crushed, but our entire clan will be wiped out. The ancient immortal and ancient god bloodlines will be destroyed, and you won't have any more roots. When the Flame Emperor returns, he will definitely expel you from the Yen clan. You won't even be a Yen person." Kakaka. Yenyu was furious and his killing intent shot out. However, at this time, Yi Qinghan had already led the 20,000-strong army to the edge of the universe. He raised the banner of Elite Hall, and no one dared to stop him. Even the new 12 immemorial emperors and 12 core gods had to provide him with information. Yi Qinghan locked on to the direction and rushed to the edge of the universe. The spatial storm was extremely terrifying, and even the Taigu Emperor could be killed if he fell into it. The army was stationed at the periphery, and they shuttled back and forth, searching for the experts of Crazed Manor. However, when the experts of Crazed Manor saw the banner of Elite Hall, they took the initiative to avoid it. Yi Qinghan shuttled through the spatial storm. He was no longer in the 5 elements, and the spatial storm had no effect on him. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Yi Qinghan's speed became faster and faster. He held his sword and walked without restraint, and the more dangerous the place was, the more he would rush in. The edge of the universe was narrow and extended endlessly. Yi Qinghan stared at the void, trying to activate the Flame Emperor's Great Tao. Since Qi Yen dared to send the Flame Emperor's corpse here, he must have been guided by the Flame Emperor's Great Tao. The Flame Emperor's Great Tao must have controlled this place. As expected, the Avatar appeared. The two didn't say much and walked side by side, quickly finding the Scarlet Flame Warhorse. The Scarlet Flame Warhorse that had calmed down was pure white, and its hair was soft and smooth. It was definitely one of the best demonic beasts in the world. Once it used its second form, its body would be covered in flames, and it would be scarlet red. 2 forms, 2 types of fur, but they were both very majestic, and ordinary people wouldn't dare to get close. Senior Flame Emperor Avatar, you should let Qi Yen carry the fake corpse through the universe and hide it. I'll carry the Flame Emperor's corpse in the opposite direction and hide it in a safe place. Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. At this moment, the 9-colored Brahma heart in the Flame Emperor's mouth had sprouted leaves, and it was very beautiful. This was the 9-colored Brahma heart spontaneously gathering the Flame Emperor's soul that had been scattered for countless years. The 9-colored Brahma heart had 9 lives. Unfortunately, the Tao inspector didn't know and didn't understand. He thought that he could kill the 9-colored Brahma heart with 1 strike, giving the Flame Emperor a chance. However, the Flame Emperor might not be able to come back to life. The Flame Emperor avatar didn't know either. The avatar was just a state formed by countless thoughts, and it was fundamentally different from the real body. Qi Yan didn't reject the Flame Emperor avatar, and he even believed in it, so he didn't run away. The Flame Emperor avatar felt that Yi Qinghan was right, but once Qi Yan appeared, it would be very dangerous, and he might die. Qi Yan was very intelligent. At this moment, he seemed to have noticed the Flame Emperor avatar's hesitation. He immediately stepped into the air and sent the Flame Emperor's corpse to Yi Qinghan. With a wise master, there would be a righteous beast. Qi Yan was willing to die to protect the Flame Emperor's last hope. Whoosh! Hiss! Qi Yan turned into a ball of flames and rushed into the void, purposely revealing his position and rushing towards the edge. Yi Qinghan sighed in his heart. The Flame Emperor's righteousness could only be witnessed by the heavens and earth. He was ashamed that he couldn't compare to him. He wasn't a good person, and to many people, he was a heinous villain. His righteousness was only for the crazed manner, but the Flame Emperor's righteousness was for the entire world. Sigh, when can I take in such a follower? Sovereign Yi suddenly appeared and said with a look of pity. Yi Qinghan glanced at him with disdain. If Sovereign Yi was as righteous as Qi Yan, he would be laughing himself awake. Whoosh! The Flame Emperor avatar didn't say much and directly hid in the Tao. Who? Yi Qinghan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and carried the Flame Emperor's corpse in the opposite direction. Yi Qinghan didn't know how far he had traveled, but he still felt that it wasn't safe. This distance wasn't a big problem for the immemorial Yin Yang. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan began to change his direction and rush towards the center of the universe. After a few years, Yi Qinghan brought the Flame Emperor's corpse to the center of the Dark Moon Star and the last Flame Tribe. A huge black hole would appear there every 3 years. Coincidentally, this month was the time when the black hole appeared. The black hole covered the sky and the stars. Yi Qinghan pondered for a long time. Then, he carried the Flame Emperor's corpse and jumped into the black hole. Whoosh! Whoosh! The black hole didn't seem to be an ordinary black hole. It was a spatial tunnel that led to an unknown place. Chapter 29:14. Yi Qinghan himself didn't know if there was life in the depths of the spatial tunnel, but he was confident that he could come out alive, so he dared to take the risk. Whoosh! Whoosh! Yi Qinghan sped through the tunnel for 4 months and finally appeared in an empty place. Everything was in a state of nirvana, waiting to be awakened. At this moment, Yi Qinghan carried Yen Emperor's corpse and traveled through the land of nirvana. He didn't find a place to rest. It wasn't a land of death, but it wasn't a land of life either. There weren't even any planets. After traveling for dozens of days, he finally found a dead planet. There wasn't even any grass growing on it, only sand and stones. Yi Qinghan reversed the laws of order and chose a place that turned from a land of death into a land of life. The leaves of the 9-colored Brahma heart took root and grew into a lush garden. It was colorful and colorful, as beautiful as a paradise. Yi Qinghan laid down a great formation. If he didn't see it with his own eyes, he might not have found Yen Emperor's corpse. Huff! Yi Qinghan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. At this moment, he had already returned to his original appearance. However, his aura was more restrained and was no longer as sharp as before. He stood there, but divine senses could not sense him because his physical body was not within the 5 elements. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan went back the way he came and rushed through the tunnel. He kept jumping and twisting the laws of order and rushed out of the terrifying tunnel. Whoosh! 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 Yi Qinghan sped through the air and flew into the distance. No one could see him. At this moment, the Scarlet Flame Warhorse killed a Class 1 Hall spy and started to escape, attracting Class 1 Hall's attention. Immemorial Yin Yang got the news immediately and chased after it. However, the Scarlet Flame Warhorse was as fast as lightning. Under the guidance of Yen Emperor's Tao, it kept changing directions and hiding. It actually escaped Immemorial Yin Yang's pursuit dozens of times. Boom! Immemorial Yin Yang used the Tao of Yin Yang to spy on the universe and patrolled the endless border. He found many traces of crazy manners experts, but he was too lazy to chase after them. Immemorial Yin Yang was drunk just thinking about it. He chased after the alien star in the beginning, and now he was chasing after the Scarlet Flame Warhorse. He seemed to have spent his whole life chasing and chasing after the progenitor realm to this extent. Just thinking about it made him feel that life was meaningless. Others climbed to the top by drunk and lying on the beauty's lap, but he didn't have that leisure. The Yen Emperor's Great Tao took the initiative to attack, interfering with the Yin-Yang Great Tao. However, the Great Tao powered by the primordial Yin-Yang was clearly stronger than the Yen Emperor's Great Tao that was not powered by anyone. Instantly, the Yen Emperor's Great Tao was suppressed. Boom! Bang! Almost as soon as the Yen Emperor's Great Tao was defeated, the Great Tao of Ruthlessness imprint shattered and blasted the immemorial Yin-Yang Great Tao, almost blasting it into the depths of the universe. Two supreme Great Tao joined forces, fought immemorial Yin-Yang Tao to fight to buy time. Yi Mingxi appeared. She had comprehended the Great Tao of Ruthlessness, but her combat strength was slightly inferior to that of an ancestor. However, a difference of a millimeter was equivalent to a difference of 1,000 miles. The difference between an ancestor and a slightly inferior ancestor was equivalent to 100 slightly inferior ancestors. Their combat strengths were not on the same level. However, the immemorial Yin-Yang Tao was still the immemorial Yin-Yang Tao. Yi Mingxi joined forces with Yen Emperor's Tao to interfere with immemorial Yin-Yang. Yi Mingxi's eyes were covered by the immemorial Yin-Yang Tao. No one could see through her emotions, but one thing was certain. She had feelings. There were feelings in the depths of the immemorial Yin-Yang Tao. Yi Mingxi proved that the immemorial Yin-Yang Tao could be cultivated. Immemorial Yin-Yang Tao couldn't spy on the universe. He was furious and wanted to kill Yi Mingxi several times, but he was stopped by Yen Emperor's Tao. The Yen Emperor avatar reappeared in the world. His purpose was not to kill immemorial Yin-Yang Tao, but to stop him from chasing after the Scarlet Flame Warhorse and killing Yi Mingxi. Immemorial Yin-Yang Tao had been in the progenitor realm for many years. His cultivation had improved a lot, and the avatar was no longer his opponent. Even if he and Yi Mingxi worked together, they could only barely survive. Boom! Bang! In the depths of the universe, the three experts fought with their immemorial Yin-Yang Tao. No one dared to stand in the center of the battlefield. The three of them had fought for more than 3 years. Yi Mingxi and the Yen Emperor avatar were only trying to buy time. They would retreat immediately after being defeated. The immemorial Yin-Yang Tao roared, but it could only temporarily force out 2 hidden immemorial Yin-Yang Tao. Buying time. That was the most important thing. Immemorial Yin-Yang Tao's killing intent shot out. He smashed a star with a palm, and a figure rushed out from the star. Mu Zhuang was hiding in this dead star. Mu Zhuang was forced to reveal himself. Instantly, he became one with his sword and rushed into the void to escape. Die! Immemorial Yin-Yang Tao's palm covered the sky, shattering countless stars as it grabbed at Mu Zhuang. Bang! The Yen Emperor avatar had no choice but to appear. It blocked with a palm, instantly destroying hundreds of thousands of miles. Mu Zhuang vomited blood from the aftershock. Mu Zhuang screamed. He lost control of his body and slammed into a dead star. The Yen Emperor avatar shook and was almost shattered. Once the avatar was shattered, he would be completely dead. Boom! Yi Mingxi formed a seal with her palms, turning it into a merciless seal that covered the sky. She slammed it at immemorial Yin Yang's face, forcing him to retreat. Only then did he manage to protect the Yen Emperor avatar. The experts of Crazed Mansion appeared one after another. Because the border was no longer a safe place, the experts who were in deep slumber were awakened and fled in all directions. Immemorial Yin Yang seemed to have found a way. He kept slamming at the experts of Crazed Mansion, forcing the Yen Emperor avatar and Yi Mingxi to resist. Yi Mingxi was almost shaken out of her merciless Tao. She coughed out blood, and her white robe turned completely red. The warhorse neighed, and Scarlet Flame turned into a ball of flame and rushed from the edge of the battlefield. Immemorial Yin Yang forced the 2 experts to retreat and chased from afar. Bang! The Scarlet Flame horse stepped on the void and crossed a star system in an instant. However, the distance between them was constantly shortened. Its speed was far inferior to immemorial Yin Yang. This scarlet flame horse let out a long hiss as if it was lamenting. It had really used up all its strength. Yi Mingxi charged forward again. Her eyes were red, and merciless seals shot out from her eyes. They gathered in her palms and slammed at immemorial Yin Yang Celestial Emperor. Boom! Immemorial Yin Yang Celestial Emperor had no time to kill Scarlet Flame and the corpse on its back. He could only turn around and attack Yi Mingxi. Gotcha! Her merciless Tao almost collapsed. Yi Mingxi's body was twisted and she flew back countless miles. She almost died on the spot. Ants, do you think you can go against an ancestor? Immemorial Yin Yang Celestial Emperor said disdainfully. He waved his hand, and the immemorial Yin Yang Celestial Emperor sword appeared in his hand. The current ancestor was definitely not the same as when he had just refined the alien star. After the immemorial Yin Yang Celestial Emperor had refined half of the alien star's origin, his strength had more than doubled. The experts of Crazed Mansion were in despair. The ancestor realm was too terrifying. Even if someone stepped into the ancestor realm, they would not be a match for immemorial Yin Yang Celestial Emperor. Moreover, they had not even reached the half-ancestor realm. The wooden dummy was already strong enough, but it still could not withstand the aftermath of immemorial Yin Yang Celestial Emperor's attack. Today, Yin Emperor will be completely dead. Crazed Mansion will no longer exist. The merciless Tao will disappear. Yin Emperor's Tao will also collapse. Immemorial Yin Yang Celestial Emperor swore coldly. I also hope that everyone can agree with my point of view. However, there are always two sides to every matter when looking at it from different angles. I won't force it. Chapter 29:15. Yi Mingxi was defeated, and so was the Flame Emperor's Dharma body. Who else could stop the primordial Yin Yang? Qi Yen fled with a corpse in tow, streaking across the sky like a bolt of lightning. The immemorial Yin Yang sword pierced through everything and broke through the void. Then, a palm covered the sky and suppressed Qi Yen. Whoosh! Bang! At this moment, a figure broke through the void and turned into a flaming palm print, which collided with the primordial Yin Yang palm. Boom! Flames rushed into the sky, and the two palms collided. The void kept collapsing, and the Yin-Yang 8 trigrams and the heaven-defying Tao appeared at the same time, surpassing the heaven-defying Tao. Yi Qinghan arrived in time. In order to save Qi Yen, he had to expose his identity. All awakened members of the Insane Manor, kill all of the people from Class 1 Hall. The final battle begins today. Yi Qinghan's sudden attack sent the primordial Yin-Yang palm flying for thousands of feet. Then he roared, waved his hand, and stepped on the collapsed void to attack the primordial Yin-Yang palm. Although his combat strength had not reached its peak, and he could not defeat two progenitors, dealing with one progenitor was not a problem. The primordial Yin-Yang palm released its aura, and the 8 trigrams covered half the sky. It glared angrily. It did not expect Yi Qinghan to really return, and he was not in the ancient immortal world as Lu Feng said, but in the borderlands. Kill! A large number of experts from the Insane Manor appeared, including Gu Qingyu, Mu Zhuang, Zhou Shuguang, Li Peiza, Jiang Jingtian, Qitian Monkey King. The Taigu Emperor of the Insane Manor had all awakened. Their numbers were far inferior to the Taigu Emperor, but their strength was great, and their unity was strong enough. Although the Flame Emperor's Dharma body and Yi Mingxi were defeated, they were still stronger than a half-ancestor. At their peak, they could kill a Taigu Emperor, and now that they were injured, they could restrain 5 or 6 Taigu Emperors. The battle between experts caused the sky to fall and the earth to crack. Qi Yen roared, burning thousands of miles away. The borderlands fell into a disaster. Wars broke out between the major planets. The first, second, and third generations of the Insane Manor had appeared, and the inner sex experts were attacking Class 1 Hall's experts. Inform Yen Yu to come to the borderlands. The immemorial Yin Yang roared furiously. At this moment, he could no longer divert his attention to use the great Tao to transmit messages. Once he was distracted, Yi Qinghan and the Inferno Emperor's Dharma body could kill him instantly. But at this moment, Gu Qingyu and Qitian Monkey King had joined forces to destroy the headquarters of Class 1 Hall in the Borderlands. The special transmission channel was directly cut off. The supreme ancient emperors of Class 1 Hall surrounded the two of them and engaged in a frenzy. More and more experts were trapped. However, Yi Qinghan had the foresight to place the so-called first-grade Supreme Martial Artist Army near the teleportation steel. The moment Yi Qinghan appeared, he locked the teleportation boundary steel in advance. The secret agent of first-grade Hall wanted to use the teleportation boundary steel to send a message to the ancient immortal world, but he was killed the moment he reached the teleportation boundary steel. Of course. They didn't expect that Of course, they died quietly. After hundreds of times, Many people were near the teleportation boundary, but they didn't activate it. So the Taigu Emperor came to find out the reason. The rank 1 Supreme Martial Artist Legion did not move an inch and looked straight ahead. The immemorial wolf spear shone with cold light, and the Supreme Martial Artist feather robes fluttered in the wind. They were definitely elites among elites. The Taigu Emperor didn't suspect the betrayal of of. He stepped into the teleportation boundary and asked, "What's going on? Why isn't the teleportation boundary activated?" No one replied. The place fell into a deathly silence. "Who is the one in charge of of? Step forward." The primordial emperor roared as he swept his cold gaze around the area. An expert stepped forward. His cultivation was comparable to that of an immemorial divine general, but he wasn't famous. He had a cold expression on his face as he performed the special etiquette of of immemorial era. "Sir Taigu Emperor, the commander went out to search for the Flame Emperor's corpse. I, by Qishue, am in charge of this place." The expert held the ancient wolf spear tightly. His whole body was tense. Killing intent had already appeared in his heart. They wanted to work together to kill the Taigu Emperor. An army of 27,000 was at most a small team. Even if they had a lot of experts, it was impossible for them to shake the Taigu Emperor. However, this team was special. Their ancient wolf spears contained Yi Qinghan's sure-kill attack. The power of the ancient wolf spears was heaven-defying. Their destructive power was definitely not as great as when Yi Qinghan used it himself. In fact, it was only 1/1000th of the power. However, when thousands of ancient wolf spears attacked together, killing the Taigu Emperor would be easy. They were waiting patiently for the chance to kill the Taigu Emperor. The Taigu Emperor of Class 1 Hall frowned as he looked at the teleportation tablet. He asked coldly, "Bai Qishue, let me ask you, where are the teleporting spies that approached the teleportation tablet? Why didn't they activate it?" Bai Qishue coldly replied, "Sir Taigu Emperor, I did not see anyone activating the teleportation tablet. Perhaps they were intercepted by the people of Insane Manor. They did not appear here." The Taigu Emperor of Class 1 Hall was furious. He shouted, "Go and send a message to Lu Feng. Tell him to inform Lord Yen Zhu to come to the border." At that moment, the experts of Insane Manor had begun their counterattack. The Flame Emperor's Dharma body and Yi Mengshi had joined the battle. Shirgu and the others had also appeared. Even Crimson Flame had joined the battle. Although Class 1 Hall had a lot of Taigu Emperors, they were currently being suppressed. This Taigu Emperor could not just leave. After all, a Taigu Emperor's strength was too important. Things like sending messages should be left to the spies or other people. Bai Qishue slowly raised his head and looked directly at the Taigu Emperor. He cupped his fists and replied, "Sir Taigu Emperor, we are under the control of Class 1 Hall's Hall Master Lu Feng and Flowing Light Manor's Flowing Light Snow. You do not have the authority to order us around. It is better for you to let Class 1 Hall's spies do something as trivial as sending messages." The Taigu Emperor of Class 1 Hall was furious. He waved his hand and slapped Bai Qishue, sending him flying. "You are courting death. Go to the ancient immortal world immediately. If you dare to disobey my orders again, I will execute you on the spot, the Taigu Emperor of Class 1 Hall scolded coldly. Bai Qixue crawled up with difficulty. A cold light flashed in his eyes. He touched his cheek with his right hand, and the 5 fingerprints were clearly visible. The tearing pain almost made him faint. However, the willpower of insane manner was much stronger. He bowed slightly and said, "Yes, sir." The Taigu Emperor snorted coldly and turned to leave. Boom. The ancient wolf spear in Bai Qixue's hand trembled and pierced through the void. Then, the 3,000 men of the first column burst forth almost at the same time. The spear swept through the sky and pierced through the universe, drowning the Taigu Emperor. The primordial emperor from Class 1 Hall was instantly shocked. He swung his palm to strike at the wolf spear that came charging at him from behind, but the inverse law order stored in the wolf spear was activated, and it pierced through the primordial emperor's defenses with brute force. One strand of power might not be scary, but when 3,000 strands of power erupted at the same time, it was extremely terrifying. Bang! Boom! The Taigu Emperor screamed miserably. Dozens of ancient wolf spears stabbed into his body. The inverse law order continuously destroyed the Taigu Emperor's life force. In an instant, the teleportation steel shone with a dazzling light. "You are the one who is courting death, not me." Bai Qixue roared angrily and kicked the Taigu Emperor's face. Boom! Bang! The Taigu Emperor was sent flying. Then, another 1,000 spears pierced through the void and pierced the Taigu Emperor's body, nailing him to the ground. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.